fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up there!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
SIX very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. V8S coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, V8S one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
Welcome one and welcome all to SimSpeed TV this Friday night. It is a V8SCOPS race weekend, and that means it's time for the return once more of the racingsims.co.nz V8SCOPS support series. And we're at Oulton Park in virtual Cheshire, UK for this one. Fantastic, historic circuit that is sure to provide some fantastic racing in these flat sixes. We're at round 4 of this particular series, round 8 of V8SCOPS support in general. My name's Reese Gardner, and Simon Mazzomo is joining me in the commentary box once again. Simon, we love our flat sixes, and Oulton Park is sure to provide some brilliant racing once again.
Absolutely. It's good to be back here. It's been a while since we last ran these Porsches around here. I was having a think earlier today. Last time we were here was when we were running the Super Cup series, and it was fantastic racing when we visited then. There is no doubt we're going to have some amazing racing again tonight.
Absolutely. 2 23-lap races going down tonight with a reverse grid for race 2 in all the cars that finish on the lead lap. Let's take a look at Oulton Park in virtual Cheshire. It's in the northwest of England, a bit south of Liverpool and Manchester railway country, in the depths of the green British countryside. Down at Oulton Hall, they've got the Oulton Park Lake, and around that Snakes, the magnificent Oulton Park circuit. Started out in 1953 with basically a route around an old World War II army camp, which has evolved into one of the best circuits that the UK has to offer. It's got plenty of sweeping turns, a couple of chicanes, which should provide some overtaking opportunities. But one thing's for sure, Simon, this track is twisty and it is bumpy.
Very much so, especially sort of into 1-2, coming down the hill as we go, as you sort of got there, lakeside as well. Very, very bumpy through there. The Shell oils hairpin as well. Very, very bumpy through there. You got lots of camber, which sort of helps the car be settled through there. But as you're coming out of it, there's a lot of bumps. And we obviously know with these cars, they like to rotate a lot on the throttle. So when you're coming out of that corner, you can feel the rear sort of bouncing around, trying to get the power down. It's going to be interesting watching them come out of there. And whoever's got the car set up just right is going to be probably the one that's going to be the watch out of there.
Absolutely, and turn 15 there, the double apex right-hander of Druid's Corner is going to be a challenge for the drivers to get right. Tightens up a bit on the exit, and at least in a Formula V, we've seen it as a passing opportunity here on SimSpeed TV, but I get the feeling that it's not going to be quite as simple in these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. The top 5 drivers at the moment: Thomas Hinz leading the championship with Riley Preston, Benjamin Faulkner, Sebastian Flock and Cameron Dance completing the top 5. Bo Albert was in contention for the championship title, but after a controversial round of racing at Oulton Park, he's he's no longer racing in this series. So that basically means that Thomas Hinz is going to have to put in one heck of a drive tonight to try and hold back this guy, Riley Preston, for Evolution Racing Team. He currently tops the qualifying session with 5/10 over his nearest rival, Daniel Yeaman.
Yeah, it's just solid effort at the moment. He's just definitely looking the best out there right now, getting the absolute max out of the car. Obviously, you can see Daniel Yeaman in second as well. Rocked up last round, it was his first one, and put in a pretty decent effort there as well. So he seems to be backing it up tonight in P2. And obviously the championship contender, Thomas Hinz, in third. Half a second back. I don't think he's going to be too happy with that at the moment.
No, certainly not. Yeaman took his first victory at Donington Park last round in race 2. It was a stellar performance from Daniel. But yeah, putting himself up in second, certainly getting things right. But we're still following Riley Preston around this lap through the chicane here at Oulton Park. There's 2 of them. The first one down there at Hislop, and sorry, I think that's Knickerbrook. And then the Hislop chicane here. And the turn right that he goes through here, that is Knickerbrook. And it's interesting, the story of how that corner got its name. Like many old racetracks around the world, the stories are steeped in legend. You're not quite sure if they're true or not, but apparently some guys were doing work on the circuit. They were doing some sandblasting, and a young couple ran out of a bush nearby after the blasts, and the men inspected the bush later and found a pair of ladies' undergarments in the bush. So the corner was then named Knickerbrook as a result. Quite a story.
I kind of love UK circuits to come up with that sort of stuff, but it's a really good corner too. Actually, that sort of mentioning it, it's if you don't use the Hillsop chicanes, it's a really high speed corner through there. But using that chicane, it sort of really tightens up. And you sort of mentioned earlier with the sort of being a bumpy area, that's one of those corners that's a bit bumpy. So definitely going to need to have a bit of throttle control without trying to make the joke again. And sort of, yeah, uses everything you can to get off there, because it's obviously going to give you a very good run up the hill down to Druids. It's just going to be one of those key parts of the circuit. You've got to get it right if you really want to string a lap together.
Same here at this point of the circuit that Reese Harnell is making his way through. Reese is using VR at the moment for this one. This is our view from on board his car, but you see the way he's looking into every single corner with his VR headset, making sure that he gets all of his lines exactly right. Harnell is currently 9th place in the qualifying session, and he hasn't got too much time to make up if he wants to break into the top 8. Brady Baldwin's ahead of him on a 34.964. It's a 35.287 that Mr. Harnell is currently on as he comes up to the double right-hander at Druids over the hill. Got to really get a good exit from the Hislop chicane if you want a good run up that hill. And seems to be touring nicely through that section of the circuit down to the final corner, basically at Lodge, the final proper corner anyway. He's making a couple of adjustments on the way down there as well, going over the rise and then up through the Deer Leap to end the lap, and Harnell electing to bring that one into the pits. Of course, it's the no escape rule in full effect once again, Simon. It's little thing to just make things a bit more like real life. If you end up having to stop out on circuit and tow back to the pits, then that is your session over.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, trying to copy a little bit of real life, and there's not a lot of leagues that sort of do this. There's starting to become quite a few that do the no escape rule in races, but not a lot do them in the qualifying session. So it's one of those things when you come and race SCOPS, you've got to be aware of those things and make sure you're on top of that, because you know, if you put in a few bankers and stuff like that, see Matty Jones pulling to the side, don't escape, buddy, don't do it.
No. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Goodness me. Oh, looks like he might have a cone stuck underneath his car as well, by the way. That's something that you've got to look out for here at Oulton Park. I've seen a few drivers, including this guy, Cameron Dance, here in the championship top 5, cutting the chicanes on the outlap to try and make it just a little bit quicker. But of course, they've got traffic cones blocking off the route at those chicanes. So if you hit one of those and it gets stuck under your car, then you're screwed, basically.
Yeah, it's not that fun. And it's something also to do with the new damage model as well. The Porsche seems to have got a bit of a hybrid. It's getting a bit of an update to the damage model, but it's still kind of like the old one. One of those things we've noticed a lot of is that sort of stuff where cones and stuff get caught. Just doesn't want to dislodge the way it should, and certain parts break that probably shouldn't. So it's one of those things that you got. That's obviously, it's a sim. These things are going to happen, but just obviously one of those things that you got to be aware of when you're trying to do that kind of track and shorten your lap up. That it doesn't cost you in the long run.
Yeah, exactly right. Daniel Yeaman trying to improve on his second place time. He's got half a second once again to make up versus Riley Preston. Let's see how well he can go towards the end of this lap as we have 4 minutes to go in the session. Drivers will likely only get another run of 2 laps in if they go out of the pits at this time. So Yeaman across the line and starting a lap. So we'll follow him for a bit around this one. Going through turn 1, you've got a late apex it because it really tightens up in the exit phase of the corner. And then down through the dip into the sweeping left-hander, which you've got to be very careful of on exit right there. That's where the off-track can come in. It's a very restrictive off-track there at that exit of the corner. So the drivers do have to be careful making their way around. But seems to be taking it nice and easy into the Shell Oils hairpin. But talking about, you talked about the camber through that corner before, Simon. It is immense, and it does allow you to get a mammoth launch on the run up to the next chicane.
Yeah, absolutely. And just trying to get the run through there. So it looks like a bit of a weave. So it looks like Daniel might be resetting himself and having another go. The car behind as well seem to be resetting themselves again. There we go, through the shortcut. But yeah, it's one of those corners as well. You just got to sort of try and get the run through. Actually, sorry, I'm just having a look. Yeah, he's actually got a cone underneath the car as well. No. Daniel's also fallen foul to the cone.
He has indeed. You can just see it peeking out from his right-hand side as he makes his way through the corners. Oh, goodness. That's going to play some havoc on his next lap. See if he can actually get another time in after the session. He's still doing some weaving, maybe trying to dislodge that cone, but not too sure if that's going to be successful.
Yeah, no, he did. Literally, just as he came over that rise, he got rid of it. So that's good. He'll be able to push on with that lap. Cam Dance out of the final corner seems to be on a fly lap at the moment. Will it be an improvement?
Yes.
And does. Yep, that's a slight improvement up into P2. So a fantastic lap from Cam Dance.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like moving himself then up, into P2 indeed. So that's Daniel Yeaman now having to get another few hundredths out of the car to try and maintain that front row start. Matty Jones, Yeaman's teammate at Drop Bear Motorsport. Let's see how well he does. A 34.751 for him. And that's not an improvement. That's 3/10 behind his fastest time at the moment. What about Aaron Gilbert in the 03, currently in 10th place? See if he improves on his 35.3. A 35.0 will certainly do that. That's going to put him up into 9th.
Yeah, decent spread in the field at the moment. It's a few spots yet to be decided. There's not long left now, about a minute on the clock. So if you're lining yourself up for your lap, you've got to go for it now. We can go back on board with Daniel Yeaman. Looks like this lap is still on at the moment. Fantastic run through Druids. Got a nice flow out the corner. Now he's got to set it up. It's going to be a lap car in front, but that's fine. We'll get out of the way and open it up for him. Make sure to hit the apex, try and get a really good run off the corner. He's done very well so far. Use a little bit of the outside curb just to get the power down. Hold it tight as we come through. It's going to get to the line. It's a 33.8. Looks like it will be a PB, but not enough to go faster again.
Yeah, unfortunately, just cannot find that last little bit of time he needs to pip Cameron Dance. Well, Riley Preston isn't in any trouble for pole position at the moment. Just out there doing some extra installation laps, making sure that everything is to his liking in that Porsche 911. But you've really got to adapt to the car in this particular series, in this particular car even, because there's really not much to adjust on it.
No, very, very limited. And that's why personally I think these cars are fantastic to race with, because you know the guy in front of you's the setup's not going to be hugely different, and it's all about how you can drive the car and how you can maximize the whole thing. So from a purely driver's perspective, it's pretty awesome.
Yes, indeed. Certainly fun to watch them race their way around tracks like Oulton Park. So Preston just going for one final flyer here as the checkered flag has flown in the session. Most drivers now making their way back to the pits. Let's see if Riley improves on that 33.2. He's gotten this far in the lap, so he's obviously committed to it. Keeps the apex nice and tight through Druids, and then over the rises and dips and bumps on the straight down to Lodge Corner. Love that part of the circuit. It's almost like you're driving on a country road in New Zealand. But Riley Preston now across the line. This could be an improvement. A 33.172 will certainly do it. He keeps his pole position perfectly.
Yeah, and increases that gap as well. So if half a second wasn't enough, he just keeps pushing it out to about 6.5 tenths. So yeah, just I think he's going to be in a league in his own tonight. That was just a solid lap, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see if maybe Cameron or Daniel or Thomas can actually take a challenge to him tonight.
Indeed. Well, we can bring you the starting grid now. RacingSims.co.nz V8SCOPS Support Series has Riley Preston and Cameron Dance on the front row, with Daniel Yeaman and Thomas Hinz sharing row 2. 5th and 6th is going to be Sebastian Flock and Benjamin Faulkner, with Matty Jones and Brady Baldwin taking up row 4. Aaron Gilbert and Reese Harnell round out the top 10, with Sam Stride and Shane Best making it 11th and 12th out of 21 cars in this session.
And we'll move on to Anthony Green and Isaac Edwards will probably be the last 2 cars on the grid. There's a few other cars in the session, but they be the admins and race control for tonight.
Indeed, it looks like Adam Moore, Bradley Wingard, Max Lumsden and Mark Noble will likely take up the last 4 spots on the starting grid. Because yes, Swan, Christensen and King, they are the race control here tonight. Actually, it looks like Luke Swan is a driver. It's Christensen and King who are our race control here tonight. So there are the final spots on the grid. Max Lumsden's going to be bringing up the rear there on the 9th or 10th row once race control stays in the pits. And I'm looking forward to this one, Simon. 23 laps, an out-and-out sprint race. There's no stops, no nothing. It's just flat out all the way to the finish. And a couple of the drivers, especially at the back of the grid, are going to have some trouble getting off the line because they're actually starting uphill.
Yeah, that's one of the bad things about starting here is, yeah, if you've got to come up that hill, it's it's a bit difficult. These cars are sort of a bit tricky to start as they are. And when you put into the fact that you've got to try and get it up a hill, yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky for them. So guys up front will be pretty happy with that. They got a nice flat way to get off the line, but we'll see. We'll see how the guys down the back, if they can sort of come through the field. Obviously not easy to pass around this track. It is obviously very tight, very bumpy. So passing's going to be a bit tricky for these guys, but be interesting to see how they go. Just waiting, 30 seconds left on the grid at the moment before we go.
Very sorry, guys. It looks like my pop filter decided to press the mute button on my mic. Sorry about that. I was going to say, with 10 seconds to go on the grid time, that the battle for second place is going to be fantastic. Dance, Yeaman, Hinz and Flock all within just over 1.5 tenths of each other. So let's see how this goes with Riley Preston putting it into gear. Up in the pole position starting spot, the revs rise. Flat sixes at Oulton Park are away, and it wasn't a good initial launch there from Preston, but he gets a second acceleration phase down pat beautifully. Dance is going to get pressured by Yeaman into turn 1, but Daniel has to yield. Everyone getting through turn 1 nicely from what I can see as they get into single file for the left-hander. There's still a bit of side-by-side with Aaron Gilbert getting ahead of Brady Baldwin into the downhill left, and Making a pass also Anthony Green or Bradley Wingard further towards the back of the grid. Riley Preston already on a charge there up at the front as, my goodness, that was looking pretty iffy there between, oh, Matty Jones, oh goodness, he's caught the grass and taken out Sam Stride.
It's not good at all. Just unfortunate. He just caught the grass as they came into the corner, and obviously braking on the grass doesn't work too well for you, so very unfortunate. Sam's not going to be very happy with that at all. Can't blame him, but yeah, just an unfortunate race incident at the start there.
Yeah, indeed. Looked like Moore was very spirited under brakes there for the hairpin. Maybe lap one nerves getting to a few drivers here, but as they file down into the chicane, it looks like they're still all going all right throughout this field of Porsches. Carrying some damage there. Matty Jones with Sam Stride resuming running just behind him. Meanwhile, up at the front, Cam Dance holding on to that second place, but it's going to be a very big challenge here to catch up to Riley Preston. And I think, if anything, Dance is going to have to start looking over his shoulder, because he's got Yeaman, Hins and Flock all in a line behind him and all looking to start pressuring.
Absolutely, they'll be trying to find a way through. Best Cam can do is try and sort of latch onto the back of Preston and go with him as best he can, but as you can see, it's just the train that's starting to form behind. Yeaman's just going to try and hang on to the back, and you obviously Thomas Hins as well. They're starting to break away a little bit. You can see Sebastian Flock just hanging back there in 5th place, but there's a bit of a gap starting to form, so this little battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th is probably going to be the one to watch so far.
Indeed it is. Single file running down into the hairpin, and everyone keeping it nice and clean up at the front of the field. Looks like gaps have started to form throughout the rest of the field as well, so nothing too much going on out there on track that's a bit of a dramatic happening at least. But oh well, just as I say that, Adam Moore comes out from the heavens and blesses us with an incident. That's very unfortunate. That the front end of that car looks crumpled in massively, so obviously there's been happening down at the hairpin that's resulted in him going straight into the wall. Virtual Racing School replay, and well, that's what happens. You go a bit too hard into that left-hander and you're just left skating across the grass and into the barriers.
Very easy to do. It's a high-speed corner, but it's very much dependent on how you position the car in the racing line through that corner. Obviously, he's just put it a bit too wide and caught the grass, and oh, geez, that's a very lucky that no one else was going to get involved in that too, because yeah, obviously was not going to stop that thing in time. So yeah, fortunate to not have anyone else involved in it as well.
Yeah, agreed on that one. Here's Thomas Hins looking back at Sebastian Flock. Hins is really starting to pressure Daniel Yeaman just up ahead. Ran a time about 0.08 of a second faster on the previous lap, and they're all still closing up here on Cameron Dance. It was a 34.676 the last time for him, as that is a problem for the Harvey Bay Autoglass car of Isaac Edwards for H-Bag Race on Oz. He's had a bit of an off there through the downhill sweeping left-hand turn 2 or 3, depending on how you take it. And Dance dipping a wheel into the grass on the exit of the chicane, giving a slight run to Daniel Yeaman, but cannot take advantage into the Hislop chicane.
Yeah, still saying single file for now. It's going to be trying to find an opportunity to make a pass. Obviously being difficult to get around here, obviously going into the Hislop chicanes, obviously a good opportunity there into the Shell Oils corner hairpin. That's obviously another good spot. But it's trying to create that opportunity with the way they're running at the moment, just single file. We can see another car off track at the moment, lost the rear wing too. Max Lumsden, that car does not look to be going anywhere. It looks like it might have a lot of rear end damage. He's trying to get it moving at the moment, but it really does not want to go. This might be a safety car in this one.
Yeah, might be indeed. We're waiting on race control to make the call there. We'll see what happened here to Max Lumsden. I noticed he was going down the order just before. We're staying green for the time being as we look upon this replay. And this happened down at the Hislop chicane. What happened to Lumsden? Oh, my goodness. Wow. Okay, so note to self, avoid the tyre bundles like the plague, because it looked like his rear tyre just caught it and it flung him up into the air massively.
Yeah, that's a what to call that? It's like a pretty big hip check from a tyre barrier, but yeah, that's obviously not what we want to see at all. And just it wasn't much of a hit, just sort of grazed it, but yeah, for whatever reason that seems to be how it's ended for him, and it just sort of look like he's managed to get himself clear at the moment, so it look like we'll be getting a safety car, but yeah, massively unfortunate. It was running very, very well just outside the top 10, and yeah, come to an end very quickly.
Yeah, indeed. Looked like race control gave him the opportunity to tow there. He was near a marshal point, so they were able to get him off the circuit nicely without impeding anybody else. Well, Riley Preston, having set the fastest lap on the previous lap, is just streaking away from this pack for second place. 34.172 is Riley Preston's fastest time so far. No one else can even get close to that. And Preston, it seems, is one of those drivers that once he gets into the lead of a race, he's nigh unstoppable. I almost wish that Bo Albert was still racing in this series so that Preston could have someone to battle with there up the front. That's obviously not a knock on any of these guys driving behind him. These guys are all very talented in their own right. Just seems that Preston's on another level here.
Yeah, just seems to have something else at the moment, which, yeah, obviously fantastic for him, but a lot of these guys behind will be sort of thinking, wish I could sort of get up there and challenge Riley as well. But yeah, just doing a fantastic job at the moment. We've got a virtual racing school replay. Have a look and see what's happening. Looking at Bradley Wingard heading up into turn 1. I'll have a quick look and see what's going on here. Bit wide, looking very wide. And there, around he goes. Is he going to keep it off the wall? Done a very good job. Very good job to keep it off the wall. But yeah, it looked as though he's just a bit wide of the apex. And yeah, the rear of the car's just sort of come around. So unfortunate, but a very good job to not have any further damage.
Indeed, these Porsches have a flat six engine hanging out over the rear axle, so once that rear end gets away, the momentum carried by that big metal block in the back will certainly make you come a cropper. So, battle for second. Still at it. Cameron Dance running a little bit wide there out of Lodge corner. Went into the corner just a little bit too hard, which is giving an opportunity here to Daniel Yeaman. See if he can make good on his threat for the front row in qualifying. Cameron Dance starting to crack under pressure just a little bit there. This is a cracking battle that we're seeing between these three guys. They're all very evenly matched right now. You can barely put anything between them. Yeaman once again with a bit better traction out of the left-hander. But again, the straights here just aren't long enough for him to get a proper run.
Yeah, just not quite long enough. He's just having a look. It's wanting to have a sort of a bit of a dive, but obviously needs to set it up properly. But yeah, sort of been watching the last couple of laps. Just Cameron's just starting to have a few little mistakes sort of crop in every now and then. So obviously got to try and settle the car down a bit. Maybe just sort of working the car a little bit too hard at the moment. But Daniel's definitely knocking on the door at the moment, and so is Thomas Hinz behind as well. Don't forget that he's probably going to be looking at this and thinking this would be a good opportunity as well. Actually starting to notice Sebastian Flock as well. We could see just in the background there starting to sort of catch up. We could see off the track Anthony Green, and a lot of damage to the front of that car at the moment.
Looks like that might be another incident where you're just going a little bit too hard through that fast left-hander and getting into the grass on the run up to the Shell Oils hairpin. See what happened to him here. Turned in early. Just, okay. No, he stayed on the track, but the rear end just got free. And that's something that can happen quite easily in most cars at Oulton Park. The braking zone for that hairpin basically starts as you're coming out of that left-hander. So if you've got a bit too much steering on when you apply the brakes, that thing's just going around. Cameron Dance, meanwhile, still defending hard here from Daniel Yeaman, who's starting to really get his race on here. The tyres are up to pressure. He is up to spec, and he's doing everything he can to try and get past the Kiwi. Aussie Car Formula V Championship leader, Cameron Dance. But still, nothing going on at the hairpin. You know, it's so tempting to go for a dive there because you know that the camber can swing you around the corner. But these cars don't have anti-lock brakes, and they're very touchy on the brake pedal as well.
Yeah, definitely a bit touchy, and you can see so Daniel's dropped back a little bit just into the clutches of Thomas Hinz. So that's the thing with Daniel's in that sort of that awkward predicament where he's definitely got the pace over Cam at the moment and wants to try to get past, but he's got to be careful how he times his move. If he goes for a move that, you know, probably is a little bit aggressive or tries to sort of get it done early, Thomas Hinz is going to be there, and Thomas is not afraid to have a look as well. So, you know, Daniel's got to be a little bit careful. If he's got to set this pass up, he's got to make sure that when he goes for it, he's going to get it done. Otherwise, yeah, Thomas will obviously be wanting to have a go as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Dance once again a bit too hard into Lodge and compromises his exit slightly, but I think he's a bit blessed with the fact that Oulton Park has its corners coming thick and fast, because like I've said before, Daniel Yeaman just not able to take advantage down the straight line blasts, and Yeaman actually losing out a little bit there through turn 1, which has allowed Hinz to creep back up on him. Just delays getting on the throttle so that he can straight line the exit of the corner, try and get a good run down this straight, and a tiny bit of a look there from Thomas Hinz. Getting back on the brakes for the sweeping right-hander and down into the Shell Oils hairpin. All of them pulling it up very nicely, just avoiding that curb on the inside. You don't want to take too much of that, otherwise you'll spin right around. So much curb usage through that chicane. You could basically put the entire car off the track and not have to worry about a thing. And then very short straight line blast down to the Hislop chicane. Another little look from Hinz there. He's starting to get racy with Daniel Yeaman, and that's allowing Cameron Dance to have a little bit of extra breathing room, but I don't know, it just seems that at one point of the circuit one driver makes a slight mistake, at another point another driver makes a slight mistake, so it's a bit of a stalemate battle at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of been picking up on that a little bit as well. Like, there was a few corners that Daniel obviously made a few little mistakes, and that allowed Thomas to have a go. Now it's gone the opposite way. Cam sort of had a not so good of a run through Druids, and that's allowed Daniel to get right on the back. He's definitely having a bit of a look now. He fancies an opportunity. He's just poking the nose out, having a little bit of a look. Won't go there, but he's going to try and focus and get the run off the corner. He's got actually a fantastic run off the corner. He's going to be right close, but I don't think there's going to be an opportunity here. May look to do it. He's been having a really good run off this corner as well as they head up towards the hairpin. He's had a fantastic run. He's closing right up on the rear bumper, but it's single file through here, so he's got to look to try and go down the inside as they get to the hairpin, but he's still not close enough there. A little bit of the aero wash he's going to be getting off the back of Cam's car. It's going to stop him from really having a look. They're looking behind at the moment, just trying to get the power down. You can see Thomas Hinz once again just sitting in the back, just waiting to see how this develops. And a bit of a sideways movement there from Daniel. Just holds on to it, but he was having such a good run, and that's kind of killed it right there and then.
Yeah, looks like it. And again, these guys, you know, they would have seen or heard of what happened to Max Lumsden, and they'll want to try and stay away from those tyre barriers at the chicane post-haste. And Yeaman made another little error coming out of that section through Knickerbrook, which has allowed Hinz to close right up on him and give Cam Dance a little bit more breathing room. And Hinzy's working the wheel incredibly hard there, all of them tipping a wheel off into the grass over the exit curb. This is very hard racing here at Oulton Park. It's a beautiful old school venue.
Yeah, and it's turning it on once again. Always going to have fantastic racing. It seems to be, no matter what you sort of come here with, it's always good. Obviously, we've seen some fantastic racing with the Formula Vs as well. Skip Barbers also have fantastic racing here as well. So the Porsches definitely not going to disappoint as well as they head through Lakeside. So now we head back up to the hairpin again. Once again, Daniel Yeaman with just a really good run off that corner. That turn 3 just seems to be where Cam's just struggling a bit. He sort of can't get the car off the corner as good as what everyone else is. But then as soon as we head sort of around the back part of the section, sort of up through Knickerbrook, up to Druids, that's where Cam seems to be that little bit better, and that's where Daniel's starting to have a few little sort of mistakes creeping in. You know, it's just one of those things, as you're saying, it's sort of a bit of a stalemate in that regard, because you just, you know, you try to take advantage of where the car in front is sort of at its weakest, so you try and plan to have a go there, but you know, when you sort of find, like, just seeing there right there, like Daniel's just losing a little bit of time once again, you can't really set those passes up because you've got to get the rest of the circuit right as well. So it's just one of those things where, you know, you got to minimize those mistakes and yeah, try and set those passes up.
Yeah, indeed. We've got a replay coming up on the right side of the screen. We saw Matty Jones was in the pits, and I just took a look back at what happened to him. My goodness. Coming down through this chicane here. Bam! Just getting the tyre barrier, and that is the front right tyre completely gone. Fortunately, he was able to make it back out, back into the pits, but that's really bad there for Matty Jones. He's not had a good night so far. Having a very good night, on the other hand, is his teammate Daniel Yeaman, who is still facing immense pressure from Thomas Hinz. Again, he's dropped back from Cameron Dance, just making a few small errors. But on the run here up to the hairpin, he really reels Dance in. It's fantastic to see. And yeah, the exit of turn 3, that's, you've mentioned, Simon, that's the place where Daniel Yeaman's able to gain that advantage over Dance. And I think the reason for that is he's able to just turn it in a little bit later. Cameron Dance is hugging the inside of the corner all the way around a bit more, which I suppose is compromising his exit. He's not quite able to get on the throttle as early. Yeaman, on the other hand, he's able to late apex that corner, get the straight line power down, and really gain some momentum onto that following straight. But that ability is not going to help him at this part of the circuit, which you've mentioned is where Dance is a bit stronger, coming through Druids. We could have a safety car because Brady Baldwin, oh yeah, wheel going across the circuit. That could play havoc with a few drivers. It's rolling back down the hill. Goodness me. What has happened to Brady Baldwin, I wonder? And, oh, there we go. Safety car indeed out, and everyone slowing down because having a wheel on the circuit with this new damage model, certainly not what you want. So Riley Preston, still way out in front there. Looks like the safety car hasn't actually been able to pick him up just yet. Ben Christensen's come out of the pits a bit too late, so they're all going to go around. And these guys are still running at racing speed for the most part, which is certainly not safe. This is what happened to Baldwin. That is very odd. It might have been like a hardware failure or something like that, because it didn't look like he did anything wrong through the corner, or maybe he hit a tyre barrier. Hit the second tyre bundle. Okay, so same thing that happened to Matty Jones. Let's see what happened to him here. Boom. And that is really played havoc with the suspension. Off comes the front right. And, of course, at that point, Simon, he can't turn left.
No, exactly. I've seen that happen a couple of times already in a few other series. As soon as it pops, yeah, you've just got no steering. The steering wheel just goes dead, and that's it. So, yeah, just would have been trying his hardest to sort of slow it up and not go into the wall. But, yeah, just very unfortunate. And it's only the slightest touch as well. Like, it didn't look like a big hit at all, but obviously when you're turning around that corner, that tyre is going to be on the inside, so it exposes the wheel a little bit more. Higher chance of basically being able to rip the thing out as he's done there. So it's a good opportunity, obviously, for the field to compress now and cool down. I'm sort of thinking this is probably a good opportunity for Cam Dance to sort of cool the tyres off, because obviously we were sort of seeing where those mistakes were coming in. Maybe overheating the tyres a little bit, needs to sort of cool them off and try and reset himself. But it's also opportunity for Daniel and Thomas Hinz as well to reset themselves and try and think about how they're going to try and pass each other, because at the moment, it's one big stalemate for second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, it is indeed. And this safety car came at an interesting time too, pretty much half race distance bang on. So they'll probably be going back racing with 9 or 10 laps to go. There is Ben Christensen, our safety car driver, just chilling in his rig with his curved monitors. Very envious of that setup, but does a good job, does Ben Christensen. He races in the Trucking Legends series as well, in the V8SCOPS supports, so we might be seeing him out there in an actual race sense, not a race control sense, but he'll be touring around at 60 kilometers per hour, just compressing everyone behind him, and then hopefully we'll be able to get back racing soon.
Yeah, it's field compressing quite nicely, so we should be able to go back to green very, very shortly. But yeah, just a good time for everyone to sort of get themselves settled again. Just waiting on a few more cars to sort of catch up at the moment. Looks like Shane Best coming out of turn 1. Looks to be the end of the train. So they'll be heading past a stricken Brady Baldwin. Just very unfortunate for him. Was doing a really, really good job. Was having a good little battle there with a few other guys as well. So yeah, be pretty unfortunate. Be a bit, how would you sort of put it? Just unfortunate just to sit there and watch everyone drive past you thinking, well, you know, it'd be awesome if I was still racing out there. But now has successfully towed and back into the pits. But no doubt we'll be back in race 2. Obviously 2 races tonight. So another opportunity to try and make amends for it.
Absolutely. See if Brady Baldwin's night can be turned around. Lights are off on the safety car, so I presume that we will be going green at the end of this lap. Everyone's formed up very nicely. There is a lapped car involved in the top group as Ben Christensen pulls away. They've got Anthony Green between Preston and Dance, and have a look at this slow-mo. This is just beautiful, watching these cars go across the curb at the chicane. Brilliant stuff, and really shows off how wonderful iRacing can look. But let's see then, as they make their way out of Druids, when Riley Preston decides to go for the jump. Anthony Green is in a bit of a troubled spot here, because he's got the entire field behind him, and he'll probably be looking to let these guys by on the run up to the line. You can't pass before the start-finish line. Preston goes right at the apex. On everyone as Green goes into the pits up ahead. That lapped car there certainly stymied the advance of Cameron Dance, so it looks like Preston is just going to streak away in the lead once again. But have a look at the run from Daniel Yeaman out of turn 1. He hooked up the throttle beautifully. Cameron Dance defending the inside. Thomas Hinz sees an opportunity potentially to go to the inside. Now Yeaman can take advantage of his better exits from the left-hander. Let's see if he can get alongside Cameron Dance coming into the hairpin. Dance turns in, they leave each other just enough space to make it through side by side, and Dance holds the inside. Yeaman's out onto the dust, which allows Thomas Hinz alongside him now. Hinz potentially going for a podium position. Can he go for the move into this chicane? They still run side by side. One of them's going to have to back out. Turns out it's Hinz. Oh,
it's Cam Dance is in the wall big time. That was a fantastic scrap that was happening there. And looks like the front right has once again popped off from, like we've seen with some other guys. It's not going anywhere. That car is stuck. We might have another safety car at this rate.
My goodness, yeah, the exact same thing happened to Cam Dance that happened to Brady Baldwin and Max Lumsden. So we see the battle that I was so engrossed in I didn't even notice what happened to Dance. Comes into the corner, turns it in, and boom, there it is, the contact. It's not quite as obvious as it was with Brady Baldwin, but you can see now that wheel's just flapping around. It's not even attached to anything. And he took the wing mirror out as well, so Cameron is going to be absolutely ruining that mistake. Looks to me like we have another safety car out on track, indeed, just out of the pits there, ahead of Riley Preston. So Ben Christensen, I don't think he was looking to get back to work as quickly as that, but we've got a couple more laps now to catch our breath, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just so unfortunate for Cam. That battle, we were hyping it up. We wanted to see it happen, and we finally got it. But yeah, unfortunately, stuffed out just way too soon. We would have been good to see that one battle all the way to the end. Yeah, obviously being a teammate of Cam's, I know he's not going to be happy at all with himself. And yeah, it's just, as we've seen from other drivers tonight, it's so simple. We're not even hitting the tyre barrier that hard, but just getting the car in the wrong position, just exposing that tyre. And yeah, that's the end result. So yeah, just so easy to make, and just so unfortunate to see that happen.
Indeed, we've got the slow-mo replay. There's Yeaman and Hinz going side by side behind Dance, and this is the point where the contact was made. And you see just at that moment, all of the steering just goes, and Cameron cannot do anything to stop his run into the wall at this point. He gets on the brakes. He thinks, I can save this, I can save this. No. Into the tyre barrier he goes and just exacerbates the damage even further. Fortunately, no one else was involved in that incident. Let's see the replay on board from Cameron Dancer's perspective. He might have already been a bit flustered from the start with Anthony Green there in front of them. Between he and Riley Preston. We'll go into the slow-mo here and see. I mean, if nothing else, these tyre barriers are doing what they're intended to do and discourage drivers from taking too much of those corners, and bam, there we go. And you see the wheel freeze at that point. There's nothing more that can be done to save that thing.
Yeah, no. Game over. As soon as he touched it, that was it. Game over. So, see the safety car pulling away from the field, heading back to the pit. So, Riley Preston will once again have control of the field. Now, this will be different. He won't have a lap car between him and Daniel Yeaman. So, be interesting to see what can happen. Daniel right up on the rear bumper. He wants to make sure he is as close as possible. He'd be also thinking he's got Thomas Hinz in the background. And Thomas has been showing a lot of pace. So, and away we go. Riley pulls away. Daniel goes with him really, really well. Thomas Hinz going with him as well as they head down into turn one. Single file for the moment, but Daniel making a little bit of a mistake. You can see Thomas just closing up a little bit. So this battle, it didn't end in the first safety car. It's going to keep going. Thomas is going to have a little bit of a look into turn three. Can't quite get it done. But as they run down towards the hairpin as well, looks like Daniel's going to get a little bit of a reprieve from that. But Hinz was going to be looking for another opportunity to go past. They're just holding on to Riley at the moment. So very close racing up front at the moment. You can see at the back of the field, you can see Reese Harnell, Aaron Gilbert. This little battle starting to form as well. You can see Isaac Edwards also in a little battle as well with Shane Best. So the restart, it's giving us some battles to watch at the moment.
Absolutely is. It's fantastic stuff, and with no Cameron Dance in the picture, it's going to be on for second between Daniel Yeaman and Thomas Hinz, and Hinzy will want to get that second place and get the maximum points possible to try and preserve his championship lead, because it seems like no one can catch Riley Preston at the moment on pure pace. Luke Swan in the number 11 for Iridium Sim Sports chasing down our VR man, Reese Harnell, through Druids. Reese just putting the power down, not quite as well as Luke Swan, so that means he's going to have a run now down into Lodge Corner. Harnell, though, a little bit later on the brakes and able to keep that position only just, but he is in a lot of trouble here, because have a look at the run from Luke Swan. Defensive almost from Reese Harnell. Just moves over to the outside line for the first turn. Runs a little bit wide over the grass beyond the curb, which still allows Luke Swan to keep his foot in, and Swan is looking very racy at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably going to be a move for position being done, because Luke's just got really good pace. Reese just can't quite get it off the corners as well. You can see he's just sort of running it very, very deep into the corner. Very good run through the hairpin there, but Luke just getting a much better run. So that car just sort of, it's definitely able to get the power down a lot better than Reese at the moment. So he's going to be all over the back, just waiting for an opportunity. So not one at the moment. We'll probably have to wait to set one up again. But yeah, definitely some really, really good pace out of Luke's car at the moment.
Absolutely. We'll see how far up he can go. Swan started in 15th and is now up into 8th position, so it's been a good run from him so far as they make their way up the hill once more. Seems like that's settled down for the moment. Meanwhile, the front battle between Yeaman and Hinz continues. It's a slow burner, this battle, but I think what Hinz will be hoping for is another safety car before the end. They've only got 6 laps to go, so there's probably not a huge opportunity for one.
Big mistake. Big mistake from Daniel Yeaman. That's going to allow the opportunity to go past. They're going to go side by side into turn 3. Can Thomas Hinz try and hold it around the outside? No, he runs it very wide. did not get the rotation there at all, so that's going to be back to square one. We can see Luke Swan has got past Reese Harnell as well.
Oh, he has indeed, and only just ahead. Harnell is really pressuring him, though, to try and get that position back. Made a little bit of a move there. Swan a little bit wide through the second part of the fast left-hander. He does manage to stay ahead, though, and that pass was made on the exit of turn 1. Looked like Harnell just went for a bit too narrow of a turn in and really compromised the exit, which allowed Swan alongside. So that is that move done and complete. Still waiting for a move from Thomas Hinds, because, I mean, both of these guys very experienced, very fast racers, so they know when to give and when to take, but it's proving very difficult for anyone to try and make a proper move here at Oulton Park without a mistake from the driver in front.
Yeah, definitely looking a bit like that. There was another opportunity there for Thomas Hinds. It looked like he was going to try and get the run around the outside, but just the same thing, just could not get the car pulled up and turn. So Daniel was able to sort of get back in front. But yeah, Thomas Hinds definitely has the pace at the moment out of these two, and you can see he's closing it up very, very quickly as well. Few dabs on the brakes as well. That looks at the rear of that drop bear car. He's just not happy at the moment. He's having to really check the thing up. Thomas having another look again at turn 3 as they head down towards the hairpin again. He got a really good run, but it's going to be single file or die. Don't think you'd want to have a look there. If you weren't side by side, you weren't really going to have a go. But as Daniel goes defensive into the hairpin, Hinds trying to run the top lines, not really going to get much done there, but yeah, the rear of that car at the moment for Daniel Yeaman is just not happy. It's not being compliant at the moment, so this is presenting as a big opportunity for Thomas Hinds to finally get that move done.
This is a great battle. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Another little look from Hinds. He's trying to psych out Daniel Yeaman into the braking zones. It's something that we see drivers doing all the time at this level, just making those little moves down the straight. Just try and distract your rival in their mirrors, pressure them into making a mistake. If they think you're going to make a move, but you're not intending to, they can easily take themselves out, and you end up making the move anyway. But for the time being, unless there's a mistake out of Lodge, seems that this is the way the battle is going to sit for the time being. Both of them going into the right-hander. Hinsey just carrying a little bit more speed into the corner. They're not quite able to take advantage on the exit. The gap stays pretty much the same. Across the line, Yeaman with a 34.4, Hinds with a 34.4. There's only 0.03 of a second between these two guys.
No, just setting really solid lap times at the moment. Riley Preston's probably obviously the pace setter at the moment, just checking out at front at the moment. But yeah, this battle is only about 3 more laps left once they get to the line. So it's going to be going all the way to the wire. And as you said earlier, this is Thomas Hinds is going to be thinking about the championship at this point. He has got the lead, but Riley's going to be coming for it. And he's going to be the biggest challenge for Hinds' run. So, you know, those little points that you can get, especially considering it's still a long championship, there's still a lot to play for. You know, those points are going to be the big difference maker. So, you know, trying to get over Daniel, getting to second, it's definitely going to be something that's playing on Thomas's mind at the moment. He does have a little bit of a look, but decides to back out of it. But yeah, he's just going to want to get this done, get this move done. Simple as that.
Indeed, Yeaman. Oh, Hinds with some very spirited curb usage there. Didn't quite compromise his run though, so he can continue to go for it into Druids. Again, he just gets on the brakes a little bit later, lunges a bit further into the corner, carries a bit more speed than Daniel Yeaman. He almost has a bit of a look here into Lodge, but he doesn't have the overlap. He can't go for the move just yet. They'll come around to start lap 21. 3 laps to go here at Oulton Park in race 1 of the RacingSims.co.nz V8SCOPS support series. This Flat 6 championship has been nothing short of immense. We've loved every race of the season so far, and it just keeps turning up the heat. Daniel Yeaman with another bit of a later turn in, trying to just get that run onto the straight section. Put a little bit more of a gap between himself and Thomas Hinds, try and stymie the run of the man from Northern Victoria, the Baker, Thomas Hinds. fantastic stuff between these two. And this is one of the main reasons why I love sim racing. The fact that you have people from all different walks of life coming together and putting on one heck of a show on virtual racetracks around the globe. Hinsey with a bit of more of a straight line run through that chicane. He almost gets another run on Yeaman, who's going to stay to the right down the straight, forces Hinsey to go the long way around into the chicane. That, of course, does compromise Daniel Yeaman a lot. A little bit of a slide from him. Hinsey gets into the back of him, but they stay clean.
Yeah, solid effort there. Thomas Hinsey, it's been so easy, so easy for him to just sort of tip the back of Daniel Yeaman's car around, but fantastic job to not do that and to let this race keep going. You can see Luke Swan again on screen. He's actually managed to jump across to Aaron Gilbert now, so Luke Swan's not done tonight. There's going to be 2 laps to go when they get to the line, so there'll be another spot that he'll be looking to get before the end of this race.
Luke Swan was 5/10 faster than Aaron Gilbert on the last lap. He's on an absolute charge right now. Can't wait to see what he can do in these last couple of laps. He seems to have really gotten the pace on in the later stages of this race. Gilbert going defensive. This is the battle for 6th place. So it seems that it doesn't matter where you are in the field, there is someone to battle with. And that's a great exit once again. But Aaron Gilbert stays right in the middle of the road. Forces Luke Swan into backing out of it. There's nothing he can do. We focus on the 2 battles at once. That's the battle for 2nd between Hins and Yeaman on your right-hand side. And they are bumper to bumper out of the hairpin. Hinsey can smell a move at any point. If he can force Yeaman into going defensive down this next straight, he might be able to do a repeat of the last lap and slip by him at Knickerbrook, but we're not too sure if that's going to be the case. Yeaman does not go defensive this time around. He's wise to that error he made on the last lap and keeps Hins behind.
Yeah. Daniel's got to be pretty confident on the brakes. Oh, looks like it might be an opportunity. Just stuck the nose in. I was about to say, Daniel's been fantastic on the brakes. He'll just pull it back in front. But Daniel's braking has been fantastic, and that's why he's been able to keep Thomas Hins at bay. Hins just cannot seem to outbrake Daniel and try and get along the inside. That's why he's got to try and focus on getting the car off the corner, get the overlap before they get to the braking zone, because he can't get there, can't send one up the inside and make the apex. So, and Tinsey runs very wide, trying to get the power down as well. So we've got 1 more lap to go. This is going to be very, very close. 2 battles on track for position at the moment. This is just going to be far from over.
Absolutely, and it's side by side there between Luke Swan and Aaron Gilbert into turn 1. Can Swan get it done? He gets out of the inside of turn 1, but cannot maximize the exit, so Gilbert stays ahead for the time being. Fantastic fighting throughout this field of Porsches. Luke Swan can smell that 6th place. He can sense it as he comes round this final lap. Hins can sense a 2nd place finish on his hands. Daniel Yeaman wanting nothing more than to try and protect that position from Thomas Hins at the moment. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's Luke Swan in the wall. That's all gone wrong for him there on the last lap. We'll catch a replay of that after the checkered flag. We've still got this battle to be decided here for 2nd place. That's a huge shame for Luke Swan. He was on for a fantastic finish. We'll figure out what happened to him later. Hinsey almost has another look at Daniel Yeaman at the same place he did on the last lap, but his exit is compromised. That might be the one thing that Yeaman needed to hold on to that 2nd place. Way up front though, Riley Preston. What more can you say about this guy? He has been unstoppable tonight. A brilliant performance from the Evolution Racing Team driver puts a dent in Thomas Hins's championship lead. It's all gone right for Riley Preston today.
Yeah, fantastic job as we get to the line as well. Daniel Yeaman's gonna hold on for Thomas Hins. Sebastian Flock's gonna come home in 4th place. Fantastic driving from those 2 as well. That was just a fantastic battle. It was always going to go down to the end. I think Daniel Yeaman's probably going to get the drive for me in that race. That was a lot of pressure he had to sort of withstand from Thomas Hins.
Absolutely. Here's the virtual racing school replay of what happened between Luke Swan and Aaron Gilbert. And this is something that we saw at the start of the race. Swan saw the opportunity to go up the inside at the hairpin, but he just locked up and got sent across the grass. There was no contact between the two of them. It was just an overtaking maneuver that went wrong at the very last moment. Across the inside, whoa, Aaron Gilbert very lucky to escape from that one, but I think he sensed that was going to happen and just backed out of the corner to protect his own machine. But I got to say, still props to Luke Swan. That was one of the drives of the race up until that point. Riley Preston, I think, with the drive of the race, full stop, with the calmness with which he drove and his ability to keep that lead and just put a gap on his rivals where it mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing a bit of circle work as well across the grass. But yeah, just absolutely controlled the race. Had 2 restarts where he had to sort of make sure to get a really good restart as well, because obviously we knew that Daniel and Thomas were going to have a run for him if they could. So yeah, to make sure those 2 restarts, he nailed those. Fantastic result for him today.
By 5 seconds at the end of the race, he took the win from Daniel Yeaman and Thomas Hins, with Sebastian Flock in 4th and Benjamin Faulkner rounding out the top 5. Then it's Gilbert who was battling with Luke Swan for position number 6. Brad Wingard, Reese Harnell, Isaac Edwards and Shane Best round out the top 10.
And Luke Swan, the start of our DNFers, unfortunate. Fantastic drive up until that point. Adam Moore in 12th place. Anthony Green, 13th. Matty Jones in 14th place. Cameron Dance, what could have been. That was a top 3 run there as well. Brady Baldwin, Sam Stride, Max Lubson, the final finisher, obviously going out early in that race.
Indeed, 20 laps down with that spectacular hit of the tyre barrier indeed. Well, that brings to an end race 1 of the Porsches. Riley Preston's going to continue his celebrations out there on the front straight. As we briefly step aside here at SimSpeed TV, we have got the Trucking Legends series coming up shortly. We've got the trucks here at Oulton Park. I would usually be racing in this, but I don't have my Sims set up at the moment, doing a little bit of reno in this space. So I'm going to be in the commentary box with Simon Mazzomo for that one. Hope you can join us for the Trucking Legends coming up very soon.
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year, but the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker, especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs, any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in the car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
iRacing right now.
He's got tracks and he's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no!
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
You're watching the V8SCOPS support series presented by RacingSims.co.nz here on SimSpeed TV. What a fantastic race to start off the night in the Flat 6 series. But now we turn our attention to the Trucking Legends series. Very short racing in this one, only 10 minutes race length. And the drivers are out there in their Lucas Oil Off-Road Pro 2 racing trucks. And these trucks have always put on some fantastic fights, Simon. We certainly had an entertaining one at Donington Park, and I can only speak about it from the driver's perspective because I had a front row seat for that battle for third.
Yeah, fantastic racing these things always do. We've obviously got Tuesday night super trucks who run these things, and it's always fantastic racing we see there as well. So looking forward to this one. Be interesting to see how these things tackle the track tonight. With the tyre barriers were obviously a very big talking point in the Flat Sixes race. So be interesting to see how these trucks handle those barriers in this race.
Yeah, certainly. I've already seen a couple of drivers tip over when they've been getting themselves through those chicanes. Going to have to be very tentative in these pro trucks. They do run off-road racing tires, so they don't offer much in the way of grip, and they are rear-wheel drive. They have about, I'd say, at least 400, 500 horsepower, something like that, coming through the rear wheels, so very easy to spin up the tires. They got very soft suspension that results in the weight transfer being very crucial to get right, especially through these corners with the undulations and dips that you experience around Oulton Park.
Yeah, very much so. And I guess the other advantage too, we're starting to see it with a few trucks on track at the moment, that obviously, as you said, they've got dirt tyres on, so they can afford to use a bit more curb than, or use a bit more of the track than we've obviously seen with the Flat Sixes. Obviously, a few drivers touching the grass and getting sideways. These things, not so much. They're more than happy to get a wheel into the dirt, and in some cases, actually helps performance. So, be interesting to see. The lines are going to be very, very different. We can see there's a bit of, there's only practice, and there's definitely a bit of push and shove going on at the moment.
Indeed, we're in the qualifying session at the moment, the 10-minute qualifying before the 10-minute race, and just up ahead of Daniel Stevens, who's leading the Trucking Legends Championship. Having some real fun going on between the drivers, all trying to put the power down here on board with Daniel Stevens into the chicane. You can see just how much body roll there is on these trucks, but he's put down the power very nicely and keeping it nice and tight through Knickerbrook out over the curb. We have yet to see the first real lap times come in, so Daniel Stevens, given that he is leading the championship, would expect to set the pace here tonight. Glenn Postlethwaite, who dominated the race at Donington Park last round, is nowhere to be seen tonight, so it's a free kick for Daniel Stevens. Yeah,
Definitely be the one to look out for tonight. Ben Christensen, I think, is also going to be another one, assuming he's going to be out on track tonight. Brett Loxton also in there as well. So there's a few guys. I think that there'd be a few surprises, but you can see Daniel Stevens coming to the line at the moment. That's going to be our first time, and that should go straight to the top. Got Anthony Green, that should be finishing a lap in a second, or just about to start one. Sorry, he's just about to start one. So, yeah, there's be a bit of a wait for a few drivers to come around. So, yeah, at the moment, Daniel's definitely the pace setter.
Indeed, he is. Only driver so far to set a time in this qualifying session. And he'll be staying with that for another lap, see if he can improve as the fuel burns off and the tyres get a bit of heat in them. These trucks do get a bit faster over a race run. Reese Harnell on the left-hand side there as we continue to ride on board with our provisional pole sitter. Harnell had a reasonably good run in the Porsches, just jumping straight into the truck for this one. Qualifying is effectively his practice.
Yeah, and it's obviously a bit of a shift when you've been racing a Porsche and then trying to jump one of these. It's like going from a perfectly designed race car to a big old boat. Like, probably the only way I could describe that one. But yeah, obviously with these things, the best thing about these is that the skill to be able to get around decently in these things, it's surprising how easy you can pick one up and go and put in a decent time. Obviously, you've got the drivers like Brett Hobson, Postlethwaite. They're obviously sensationally good. Daniel Stevens obviously just can get the pace out of them, but you can rock up and have a go and still have a really, really good battle. The first couple of times that I gave these things a go as well, I was very surprised. I thought I'd be absolutely nowhere, but no, there's probably going to be someone on track that you'll have a battle with. So yeah, and it's just a good help for building racecraft as well.
Yeah, indeed. Racecraft can be taught very well in these things, given how much you have to rely on the weight transfer to get yourself through these corners. You can't just fire it in all the time because the truck will not play nice with you. Harnell running a lap time good enough for fourth at the moment. Daniel Stevens, meanwhile, has improved on his time. He's now on a 52.2. Nick Skardayev in second place at the moment on a 1 minute 53.993. So less than half of the drivers in the session at the moment have actually set times. We'll see if Ben Christensen can spoil the party a little bit. He's in race mode now after taking a couple of practice laps in the Porsches behind the wheel of the safety car.
So he's always got his eye in, so this should be good. Be able to get straight out there and be on pace in no time. But yeah, awesome time from Nick Skardayev as well. Only 1.7, so in these things it's probably not a whole. It may seem like it's a big gap, being over a second, but in these things not so much. So yeah, fantastic job. Although he's probably more doing an expression session now than trying to set a quick lap time, but yeah, still a very, very good effort, and be good to see him get a good result tonight. He's obviously been sticking it out and getting better every time, so yeah, be good to see him pick up a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. Nick does commentary with us here at SimSpeed TV. He's pretty much our super sub, our Nico Hülkenberg. If one of us can't make a broadcast, he's always there putting up his hand. I can jump in. Good on you, Nick. But certainly can't miss him out there on track in that bright yellow paint job. Anthony Green, who on the first safety car restart in the Porsches made life a little bit difficult for our second place battle, is out there in his KRF Motorsports number 39 there, 308 on the Porsche, but number 39 on the truck there in the sim. Let's see how well he can do on his first attempt there at a lap. 1 minute 57.7 for Anthony Green at the moment. That's last of all the drivers that have set times at the moment, but still pretty respectable considering that he's only just jumped in from driving that.
Yep, definitely very respectable time. You can see a few more times going to the board. Corey Kitchen goes up there as well with a 56.9, so the times are starting to come in thick and fast at the moment. So Brett Loxton coming to the line, currently sitting third, and yep, that's an improvement as well. It goes a 55 dead. Daniel Stevens back on track at the moment, completing another lap at the moment, got a 1.7 lead, so probably doesn't really need to obviously improve that lap time, but no doubt going to go for a no. That looks like it's over, so obviously not improving that time. That'll probably be, considering there's only 30 seconds left, that'll probably be end of the session for him. Aaron Gilbert on screen at the moment, coming to finish a lap as well. Very, very wide out of Drew is getting a nice slide going there, so it's looking like a decent lap at the moment, heading into the final corner. Obviously sitting fourth at the moment, be trying to improve, only 1.1 seconds off the lead. coming out of the final quarter onto the front straight. We'll see what lap time he can put in when he gets to the line. It's a 55 dead. We'll move up to P3. We'll beat Brett Loxton by geez, no less. Oh, another one too. Just having a Brett Lock.
Christensen, it seems, briefly went to 4th place there, but he's still classified in 5th. There's only 0.04 of a second between himself and Brett Loxton at the moment, which, that's certainly going to make for an interesting battle when we get into the race. Out of the final corner, Corey Kitchen set a 56.905 for his first time, but it looks like he's not going to be able to get another one in. I do apologise for that abrupt stoppage a little earlier. Simon, I did that thing again where I knocked my pop filter and it muted my mic, but I don't think that will happen again. Here's the starting grid then. Brett Loxton going up to 2nd. He just went to P2 at the very end of the session there, so he's going to share the front row there with Daniel Stevens, and it's Skrajev and Aaron Gilbert on row 2. Ben Christensen rounds out the top 5 alongside Reese Harnell. Then it's Corey Kitchen and Anthony Green, the last 2 trucks to set a time in this session. Henry King and Sam Stride have both made their way out on track in this session, but not setting qualifying times. So it looks like a 10-truck race here with Sam Stride and Daniel Stevens bookending the field, regular competitors in the Pro Truck Showdown series that we broadcast here on SimSpeed.
Yep, absolutely. I tell you what, I was actually quite incredible. Brett Loxton, that was an amazing time he got in the end. But prior to that, Brett Loxton, Aaron Gilbert, Ben Christensen, believe all part of the exact same team, were separated by 0.07 of a second, all 3 drivers. So
wow.
Until that lap time that went in, so that's phenomenally close in these trucks at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. We've still got 37 seconds left on the timer as it's a bit of a grace period for drivers to complete their laps. And the way it stands at the moment, I'm wondering if Sam Stride has actually been able to get out there and start a hot lap. So we'll see if he can get to the line in time. 15 seconds left, and he's about to get into the final corner now. Oh, time's rapidly running out there for Sam Stride, and yeah, it seems that he might not be able to get an actual time on the board. He does cross the line to start a lap as the timer hits 0, but disappears off the track in due course, and we can finally get into the race session with hopefully a short gridding time so that we can get ourselves underway post and haste. So Stevens going to be on the front row there with Brett Loxton, but it's pretty difficult to get these things off the line efficiently, Simon. You've driven these things before, so have I, and it can certainly be difficult.
Definitely can. Lots and lots and lots of power, not a lot of grip in those tyres, so you got to be very precise in how you deliver the power and how you get it off the line. Usually you can just sort of give it a bit of throttle and then just grab first gear, but even in saying that, it sounds simple enough, but you've got to get the right throttle, you've got to get the right application of throttle as it comes off the line as well. So, sounds easy, not really.
Yeah, that's another thing that we got to highlight is the fact that you can't really use the clutch to get a good getaway in these things because they use a 3-speed automatic transmission from a road car. And there's a bit of smoke coming off Anthony Green there as he revved the engine a bit too hard on the starting grid and blown out the engine. He's had to go back to the pits there and get a bit of a refresh. Maybe he won't even take the start. No, he's back there on the grid now, and maybe having learned a lesson, don't rev the heck out of the engine while you're on the starting grid, otherwise you might not get off to a start at all. But yeah, these trucks running that 3-speed auto, you have to bring the revs up in neutral and then kick it into first when the lights go out. So that's one thing that the drivers will be thinking about. What is the optimum throttle percentage for me to get the best getaway? 15 seconds left on the gridding period, and we don't quite have all of our drivers out there on the grid just yet. We are missing Henry King, but other than that, it seems that King might be in race control. Everyone else out on grid, so 9 trucks going to make their way down to turn 1 very shortly. The revs rise. Daniel Stevens on the front row. Can he get a good getaway? It looks like he can, and that's not a good getaway from Brett Loxton. He's going to get swamped by the field here. Aaron Gilbert makes his way by him into second place. Also alongside him there briefly was Reese Harnell. Skrajev trying around the outside, taking to the runoff area, and that's a poor exit from Aaron Gilbert. He gets a bump up the rear from Anthony Green, and that Constantina's back as they go into the left-hander for the first time. Daniel Stevens holding on to that lead from Brett Loxton, from Aaron Gilbert, from Green, Harnell. Skrajev is dropping down positions now. He's under big pressure from Sam Stride as they come into the fast left-hander going by the lake down to the Shell Oils hairpin, and Skrajev has gone a bit too deep and allowed Sam Stride on by into the corner side by side between Skrajev and Ben Christensen, who tries to get the run there around the outside, and Skrajev just makes a little bit of contact squirrely on the throttle. He is dropping down the order quite a bit now under pressure from Corey Kitchen. That's one thing that, oh my goodness, into the tyre bundle goes Reese Harnell, and he spun himself around there, so he'll go all the way to the back. We might be seeing quite a bit of that in this race.
Yeah, it's fantastic start at the moment. Everyone getting the elbows out at the moment, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Brett Loxton, because I could swore I saw him lynch forward at the start. Obviously, with the iRacing automated system, if you lynch forward just a little bit at the start line, it will give you a penalty for it. So it'd be interesting to see if Brett Loxton actually got one. Be in second at the moment, but it'd be a drive-through penalty, which I believe is around 30-40 seconds. So they'll obviously drop Brett right out of this field.
Anthony Green ran wide through Druids, which has allowed Sam Stride alongside him to try and get into 4th place. Sam Stride has had a fantastic first lap here. Remember, he started further towards the back of the grid. He's up 6 positions now on his qualifying pace. So let's see if Sam Stride can vault his way up to Aaron Gilbert, Brett Loxton and Daniel Stevens up at the front of the field. Let's see if he can tow a few of these guys with him. One thing that I did notice on that opening lap that I did want to bring up, you know, from commentating Pro Truck Showdown, the one thing that I know is a certainty in these trucks is it's not all over if you're on the outside. If you get the power down nice and early when you're on the outside of someone, you can actually carry more momentum than they can, get the truck sort of squatted a little bit earlier. So if drivers go side by side into some of these corners, look out for the guy on the outside.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely going to have a chance. It's just trying to get that power down, and obviously we're talking about how hard these things are to get off the start line. It's the same thing when coming off a corner. That throttle application is very important. You can easily go full throttle, but you're just going to end up in wheel spin every single time. So being able to sort of get the throttle down, apply it smoothly so that you can actually get the traction to the ground. If you're on the outside, you can obviously have a straighter run through the corner, can smooth out your inputs a bit better. The outside line is definitely a viable option to try and pass someone.
Green continuing to have a few issues there. It's allowed Ben Christensen alongside him. Green's really kicking the tail out, but Christensen running out of road there on the outside of the run up to Druids, and he gets off the circuit again. Can he get on the brakes nicely? Yes, he can. They both managed to stay on track. Nick Skrajev has a front row seat to all of this, and he might have a bit of a lunge at Anthony Green coming into the Lodge corner. Green goes defensive versus the bright yellow machine, manages to stay ahead. Skrajev tries to pick up the throttle, but just kicks the rear end out, as does Ben Christensen, but Ben won't be too fussed about that. He made the move, and he made it stick. Not for long though, because up comes Anthony Green on the inside of turn 1. Can't get the move done still with the way that turn tightens up as you go through it.
Yeah, fantastic bit of driving there. This little battle, I've got a feeling it's just going to keep going for a little bit longer. Obviously Christensen's got a bit of pace at the moment, but Anthony's not going to let him go, using every inch of the track and a bit more as well. Just love how these things, you can get them on the dirt and it doesn't phase them. You try to do this in any other race car, you're always going to end up in trouble, but these things, they just don't care. They love it. So obviously looking at Ben, he's actually starting to pull a bit of a gap now, but Nick is obviously, very sideways out of the hairpin. This is going to be good for Nick. He's going to be looking at this thinking there's an opportunity for me to get past, maybe try and chase down Ben as well as they head into the Britain's chicane, carrying a lot of pace into the corner, trying to get the throttle down as we move down the field as well. It looks like Sam Stride having a look up the inside. That was a very good one. It's not over yet. He's going to do a switchback, but just trying to hang it around the outside. Can't quite get it done.
Sam Stride, a full second faster than Aaron Gilbert on the last lap. Stride is one of the pace setters in this one. Only 3/10 in terms of one lap pace behind Daniel Stevens, who's the fastest driver on track at the moment. 52.243 is the current fastest lap of the race. Obviously set on lap 2, the first actual racing lap. This battle continuing as it looks like Skreyev has managed to get by Anthony Green at some point further on. And Green at the moment just sitting behind as Skreyev gets the power down a little bit more nicely, manages to pull that gap. Stride, though, still on the back of Aaron Gilbert, and he might be seeing a move soon.
Yeah. Just closing right in. Very well. But yeah, Sam definitely got a bit of pace, as you said. He was a lot quicker that last time by. Even that last lap, again, was a second quicker as well. So Sam's lap times at the moment phenomenally better, but obviously getting up behind someone and trying to pass them are two totally different things, especially around this place. So we've seen he's had a couple of opportunities to get past, but hasn't quite got it done yet. Aaron doing a fantastic job in trying to keep Sam behind, but there's still a little bit left to go. It looks like when they get to the line, they'll have 2 to go. So still a bit of work for Aaron to do to keep Sam behind.
Indeed. Quite a bit of work, and slightly compromised line into the Britain's chicane there for Aaron Gilbert, and a little bit compromised out as well. Didn't quite straight line the exit like he would have wanted. Sam Stride now just hanging back, hoping for another mistake from Aaron Gilbert, and it looks like there it is. He's just gone a little bit too deep into the Hislop chicane, and Stride not able to get alongside through Knickerbrook. So that battle remains a stalemate for now. But these guys definitely showing how difficult it is to pass at Oulton Park with how big these trucks are.
Yeah, small track and big trucks, yep, definitely makes it hard to pass. So, but Sam, one of the regulars in these things, obviously knows exactly what he's doing. So if there's someone that's going to find a way past, it'll definitely be Sam. He's trying to go deep under brakes. I love how he just closes up so much on the brakes, but just can't get the throttle down. Maybe that's what the difference is at the moment between these two. Aaron's able to sort of get it off the corner really well. Sam, obviously, the better under brakes. You can see him close up real close as they head into turn 1. Sam running a little bit wide of the apex. Aaron again with a nice run out of the corner. You can see battle behind Nick Skreyev and Ben Christensen. The battle has formed up there. Obviously, Nick being able to get past Anthony Green has been able to catch Ben, and now that's going to be battle for 5th and 6th place.
Indeed, Nick Skreyev showing that his 1 lap pace in qualifying certainly wasn't a fluke. He didn't have the best first lap, did Nick, but he's been able to get it back on track, so to speak. Stride having a little look at Aaron Gilbert. Let's see if old Stridey can make his way past. Still nothing doing for the time being. 2 laps to go here at Oulton Park, and again, Aaron Gilbert very conservative with the curb usage. He doesn't want to run afoul of those tyre barriers, but he's run afoul of the grass beyond the curb. It allows Sam Stride alongside into the Hislop chicane, and he is ahead by the time they get into the turn-in point. Can Mr. Gilbert fight back? No, he can't. Sam Stride planting his car on the apex and keeping it ahead.
Yeah, fantastic move there. Took advantage of that little mistake, and very easy. Could have got switchbacked by Aaron, but he placed that car perfectly where it needed to be. Made sure he got off the corner well. So now it's going to be up to Aaron to see if he can actually keep up and try and have another opportunity, but we'll wait and see. This battle between Christensen and Skreyev at the moment. Nick just closing up, using every little bit of the track, even quite a bit of the dirt running out of the Druids corner, but Yeah, Nick definitely carrying a bit of pace. We can see Daniel crossing the line. This is the last lap. So Brett Loxton sitting in tow. Obviously that jump start I called out earlier, obviously not actually happening. So Brett still challenging for second place. But this battle is going to go right down to the wire between Ben and Nick, using every inch of the track and a bit more. I think he's just found another part of the circuit out of turn 1.
Hey, there we go. My goodness, Nick is really pushing it here, trying to get past Ben for 5th place. Nick wants to try and get something back from this event. Remember, he did start in 3rd place, so he's got a lot to play for here. Just got to try and keep the truck off the grass. These trucks can handle a bit of off-track running, but it's obviously still not the best place to be. Hanging the tail out is Ben Christensen, keeping it narrow out of the Shell Oils hairpin. And it looks like Nick might not have an opportunity here into the Britain's chicane. We'll see how he does at Hislop. Nothing happening still between Stride and Gilbert, as my goodness, that was close there for Skrayev. Didn't quite get it looped, but had a red-hot go of it. Daniel Stevens, meanwhile, he's been pretty much untroubled by Brett Loxton. Brett has kept the gap nice and consistent at about 1.5 seconds, but Stevens has just kept his head down and kept himself in that lead, showing why he is the championship leader of the Trucking Legends series. He's just able to keep himself right in it when it matters. So down into the final corner he goes. 10 minutes are over. That is going to be 6 laps over and done with. And Daniel Stevens comes home to take an emphatic victory here in the Pro Trucks at Oulton Park, with Brett Loxton still shadowing him.
Yeah, no extra sausage rolls for Dan Stevens. Fantastic win there. Coming across the line in 3rd. Sam Stride, a fantastic effort there. Aaron Gilbert tried to hold on but couldn't do it in the end. And right at the dead, very, very close there. Ben Christensen will just get it over Nick Skrayev. Oh, and Anthony Green finding an excuse to touch the tyre barrier out of the armor barrier out of the final corner, but will come up to the line to finish P7.
He will indeed. Holds on nicely. We'll get a quick virtual racing school replay of that one as Corey Kitchen and Reese Harnell are still making their way around the final lap. This is the finish between Christensen and Skrayev. Christensen kicked the rear end out, which almost allowed Skrayev right alongside him. Fortunately for Ben, he managed to get that gathered back up, and this is what the gaps looks like at the line. That's what, 0.08 of a second between those two drivers. That's the kind of finish that we like to see.
Yep, spot on, 0.08. You can't, if you were there next to it, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's just incredibly close, and just that little slide off the corner was enough to do it. So, yeah, fantastic drive by Nick. So obviously, yeah, the pace is definitely coming for him at the moment. Obviously, a bit disappointed with 6th place, but fantastic drive tonight.
Indeed, these are the official results then. Daniel Stevens by just under a second from Brett Loxton. Sam Stride winning out for 3rd place over Aaron Gilbert, with Ben Christensen rounding out the top 5, but not by much from Nick Skrayev. Anthony Green comes home sometime behind, and then Corey Kitchen and Reese Harnell over a minute behind. They had issues earlier on in the race, but still able to make it to the finish. Those are our 9 trucks that have made their way out to Oulton Park for today. And now we get to step aside once more tonight, because we've got race 2 of the flat sixes coming up shortly. Another 23-lap sprint. Let's see if Riley Preston can pull off a double victory tonight. Stay with us here on SimSpeed TV. You're watching the Racing Sims V8SCOPS support series.
Hey everyone, the USF 2000 is a blast to drive now, and here's your chance to learn it quickly. From my tutorial, VRS created a free bonus track guide for the Laguna Seca circuit, where you can learn exactly what I do in every corner to improve your lap times and get faster on track. You'll learn how to easily recognize brake markers, you'll find out which curves to attack and which ones to avoid, you'll know when to use the full track and when a sequence of corners requires a compromise, and you'll learn how hard to brake and when to lift. The VRS Quick Reference track maps are available free to download and delivered each week to your inbox. The entire global MX-5 series is available, as well as bonus maps like this one and many more. So if you're a new racer, or a veteran, or just anyone who wants to learn how to get faster sooner, the VRS track guides are for you. Just hit the link or button on screen and get yours today.
You're watching the Racing Sims V8SCOPS support series. Bit of a shorter break than we would have liked because they are gridding up for race 2 of the Porsches. And of course, we have the reverse grid of all of the lead lap finishes in race 1, which means that Shane Best is going to start on pole position with Isaac Edwards in P2, Reese Harnell and Bradley Wingard sharing the second row. It's Aaron Gilbert and Benjamin Faulkner rounding out the top 6. In 7th, it's going to be Sebastian Flock. Then we got the top 3 from the previous race, Thomas Hinz, Daniel Yeaman and Riley Preston rounding out the top 10. Then it's Luke Swan, Adam Moore, Anthony Green, Matty Jones, Cameron Dance, Brady Baldwin, Sam Stride, and Max Lumsden rounding out the field. The timer has hit 0, and we are getting ready to go here for race 2 of the Porsches here at Oulton Park. And we are away, and that is a brilliant start there from Isaac Edwards. He's absolutely monstered Shane Best into the first turn. Reese Harnell holding on behind them as it's a huge pack of cars. Sebastian Flock, oh my goodness, that's Daniel Yeaman making contact with Thomas Hinz. That was something that was threatening to happen all the way through race 1, but now Yeaman out on the first lap. Oh, and it's absolute chaos down through the field.
Well.
Oh, Cam Dance, and it looks like that's Luke Swan too, missing his rear wing. They both make re-entries onto the circuit, but this is a chaotic first lap so far that I don't think we were quite ready for.
No, definitely not. We never would have expected this kind of a start, so we've got quite a few cars that have gone off in the first lap. Isaac Edwards, though, fantastic start. He's got a lead of this race at the moment. Reese Harnell is going to be chasing him down. But behind you got Sebastian Flock, who's actually had, out of all the top runners in that last race, has had the best start up into P3. You can see a few of the cars starting to come through the field as well. But yeah, that start, not quite sure what to make of it. Just, way too aggressive, way early.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to, once things settle down a bit, grab a replay to see what the heck happened in that gravel trap, because Cameron Dance, Luke Swan and another car as well involved in that. Certainly don't want to see that happen. Isaac Edwards is going to continue to hold on to the lead here from Reese Harnell, and that's a big move up the inside from Thomas Hinz on Benjamin Faulkner. Up the inside at the Lodge corner, and he is through then into 4th place and looking to chase down Sebastian Flock, who will be held up a little bit there as we go to the virtual racing school replay. Here's what happened on the first lap. Thomas Hinz versus the Yeaman, Daniel Yeaman there, getting into each other. And now, oh my goodness, that's what happened there. Contact between Dance and Swan. That sent the rear end of Swan right into it. And as we were on replay, it looks like Isaac Edwards has had a spin of his own coming down into turns 2 and 3. We'll quickly get a replay of that. Isaac Edwards, it looks like the pressure got to him leading the race, so he's back down. And that's Sebastian Flock going off at the hairpin. What on earth is going on in this second race?
Well, obviously all the good driving was done in the first one. There's a bit of damage to the front. We'll try and get a virtual school replay, but yeah, some fantastic starts there. Isaac and Sebastian, one of the ones that we pointed out, but yeah, obviously not having the greatest run. We'll have to get on. Here we go. Now we've got to look on replay. We can see Isaac coming up into turn 3. Rear's just gone. early on in the piece. That is very odd to have that happen. Now we'll go switch and have a look to Sebastian Flock. This is a fantastic run by him. Out of all the back runners, he was one of the best runners. As he heads through, oh, just grabbed the grass. You could do that in the truck, but you definitely cannot do that in the Porsche. And he's going to touch the tyre barrier. It's not too hard of a hit, but definitely enough to put a bit of damage on the car.
Yeah, Thomas Hinz went for the move there on Sebastian Flock, and it looked like Flock just ran out of road towards the exit of the corner. Here we go for the lead. It looks like Thomas Hinz getting into it versus Reese Harnell. Oh my goodness, Harnell doing the same thing Isaac Edwards did on the previous lap. The rear end just going into that left-hander. We are a bit later on in the day, so it might be a bit of a cooler track temperature that the drivers are having trouble adapting to. And another thing that I'm noticing here is Riley Preston making his way from 10th up to 3rd, still keeping everyone else honest there. But Thomas Hinz, of course, the one in the lead. Riley Preston up into 2nd, I'll correct myself there. Benjamin Faulkner still holding on to 3rd place, but it's quite the battle for 4th we're taking a look at here. It's Baldwin, Gilbert and Jones all in a line.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle here. Matty Jones behind, definitely someone who's quite good in these Porsches, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Aaron Gilbert definitely had a bit of pace in that last race as well. So, and obviously Brady, we mentioned in that last race, was unfortunately caught up with the tyre barrier, sort of brought his race undone early. He's looking for a bit of a redemption drive, so I'd expect him to fight very, very hard. P4 at the moment, up 12 spots from where he started, so the biggest mover through the field at the moment. So, yeah, I'd expect the elbows to be right out in this one.
Absolutely. Great drive from Brady Baldwin. Mad props to Brady, taking advantage of all the chaos on the first lap. Here's one of the drivers involved in that chaos, Cameron Dance, who was on for a podium finish in race 1 until he hit the tyre barrier. Whoa, hang on a minute. Side by side out of turn 1. That's quite interesting there. Between, looks like Gilbert and Jones, and Gilbert winning that battle out for the time being. Aaron Gilbert putting on a great drive in the trucks just at the previous race, holding off Sam Stride for quite some time, as that's quite the lock-up for Thomas Hinz coming into the hairpin, just up ahead of Riley Preston. These guys are battling for the championship lead, remember. Hinzy was in the lead going into this one. Hearing that something is under review, Cameron Dance under review for lap 1. That's the contact between he and Luke Swan. Oh my goodness, just behind Dance. Oh, wow. I mean, you want to wrap something around the tyre barrier, that's the way to do it. Anthony Green, unfortunately, getting the rear end a bit unstable, and that's going to be a huge hit to the side of the car. I would expect big suspension damage out of that one.
You can already tell the rear end of that's the right rear suspension has gone. Anything is crabbing back to the line. We'll get a look on replay at the moment. So you can see Cameron Dance behind, fighting his way through the field. Obviously a bit of a question mark there with the contact. It's like he's tried to get out of the way and let Cam go through. We'll watch him and caught the grass. We've seen that so many times tonight, and a big hit. That's right in the. That'll explain why the right rear suspension's gone. He has drilled the tyre barrier with that right rear corner. So that, I think, if he could get it back to the pits, he might be able to get it repaired and back out there. But that thing is crabbing bad.
Hello. See you, mate.
Everyone's had an obsession with cones tonight. Everyone's taking them for a drive around the track. Just leave the poor cones alone.
Yeah, they're just minding their business out there on track, aren't they? That's a big shame, though, for Anthony Green. When I saw that contact, I could hear the Roblox oof sound in my head. That was a big, big hit to the tyre barrier. But the battle for the lead between Thomas Hinz and Riley Preston, what a shot that is, going into the sunset here at Oulton Park. It's about 10 minutes to 8 o'clock in sim time as Hinzy goes defensive versus Preston. Thomas Hinz, I was mentioning, was leading the championship going into this round, and if he can hold on for the win here, it'll certainly be a sweet victory, especially with how far ahead Riley Preston was in race 1. But we certainly know from the first race here that it's very difficult to make moves at Oulton Park. If Hinsey can put on a defensive drive, then he can certainly hold on to that lead. Virtual Racing School replay of something that's happened here to Isaac Edwards, and we already saw that Isaac had that off in turn 3, so something's happened to him down at the Britain's chicane, I believe. Let's see how he goes through the tyre barrier, picks it up and wibbly wobbly through the air, and wow. I mean, the tyre barriers are just not playing nice today, are they?
They are definitely not. Oh man, that is a big hit there. That's so disappointing for Isaac. He had a fantastic start to this race. Got off the line, got the first lap in the lead under his belt. We can see another car off at the moment. Max Lumsden back on track at the moment. We can see Luke Swan going around the outside. But yeah, so unfortunate for Isaac there. But man, that would have been a ride.
Yeah, certainly would have. Seeing sky, then ground, then sky, then ground again. Aaron Gilbert and Matty Jones, meanwhile, the battle for 5th place. Through the chicane they go, and they've been some of the few cars here to really stay clean throughout this race, as Jones has a run on Gilbert and moves ahead there, coming into the chicane. It looked like Gilbert was just letting him go there. He knows that that's a very narrow part of the circuit. It's difficult to run side by side and try and push the issue into that chicane. So business as usual for those two guys. On board here with Riley Preston as he chases down Thomas Hinz. And Hinsey getting a good straight line exit out of Lodge Corner and over the Deer Leap. Keeps it nice and tidy. This has been a good drive from Thomas Hinz so far, aside from that lap 1 contact with Daniel Yeaman. And I think he can certainly be proud of the performance he's putting on right now versus Riley Preston, who's one of the fastest Australian drivers on the iRacing platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just fantastic job at the moment, being able to keep him behind. Not making any mistakes. He's just sort of hitting his apexes, just getting off the corner nicely. So that's all he's got to keep doing at the moment. Riley might just be preserving, waiting for an opportunity to present itself to sort of make it move for the lead. But yeah, Hinsey doing everything right at the moment. And obviously the championship picture, if he can hold Riley behind for the rest of the race, that'll obviously help his chances there, trying to sort of maintain that lead. Not sure what the championship picture will look at the end of this one, but yeah, obviously doing everything he can to hold on.
Virtual Racing School replay once again. We'll see what's happened on this one. We'll take a look at Max Lumsden and Adam Moore. Looks like Moore's just moved over there to allow Lumsden through. Of course, Max had that spin that we saw a little earlier. He just got the rear end a bit squirrely coming into turn 1, and it was one of those slow slides that are very painful to deal with. You know, once the rear end goes, it's like, I'm counter steering. Oh no, it's gone. But Riley Preston continuing to hound Thomas Hinz for the lead of this race. It's Henry James Racing versus Evolution Racing Team at the moment out there, and these guys are pulling big gaps over the rest of the field. These guys are 5.5 seconds ahead of Benjamin Faulkner right now, who holds on to 3rd place. The next battle is between Aaron Gilbert and Daniel Yeaman, who's trying to make his way back up the field. Then you got Dance and Flock together, and then Lumsden and Moore.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a battle here. Look at the lap times. Matt Jones is starting to catch Brady Baldwin as well. So as we get further into this race, another battle will definitely form there as well. So be a bit like the first race, a little bit of a slow burner, but I reckon as we come towards the end of this race, it's going to be entertaining and trying to see who can finally get those spots. But this is the one we sort of want to focus on at the moment, the battle for the lead, because Riley's all over the back of Thomas Hinz, just sort of waiting, biding his time at the moment, trying to force Hinz into a bit of an error, just sort of sitting behind. You just see that Hinz is going to have his mirror just full of that ERT machine, waiting just patiently to have a go up the inside. So Hinz just got to keep doing what he's doing. At the moment, he's just doing a fantastic job, so he's just got to keep doing that for the rest of the race.
Nice reasonable exit from Druids for both of them. On the way down to the final proper corner on this layout. And the curb ends at the apex there, and if you hit it right, you can almost use the grass to kind of rotate yourself around on the inside of the corner, but I think in these Porsches it's probably best to avoid something like that with how squirrely they can get in these low track temp conditions. The track is 19 degrees at the moment, same as the air temperature, so quite the cool bit of tarmac out there as Oulton Park right now. Here's Aaron Gilbert and Daniel Yeaman trying his best to work his way back up the field after that lap 1 contact with Hinz, and they are through the left-hander with Yeaman getting alongside and by quite nicely there. Aaron Gilbert giving him plenty of room, as that's a problem at the final corner I just saw. What has gone on there? We'll get the Virtual Racing School replay and see what happened.
Yep, up on screen at the moment. Who are we looking at here? Max Lubston coming into the final corner. I think here, around we go. No contact, which is good. Just rolling the car backwards a little bit. Grab first and away you go. These cars, they're very easy to flick spin, so obviously gets it corrected and back on his way again. But yeah, not the way you really want to take that final corner.
No, certainly not. Just got a little bit swingy on the brakes, which compromised his line into the corners. So, Hinz still with that steely determination holding Riley Preston back, and both of these guys would be aware that it's very difficult to pass here at Oulton Park. What Preston is going to want to do at the moment is try and pressure Hinz into a mistake. That way he can get by quite easily. Or not easily, depending on how we've seen other battles go around here.
Nah, hopefully these two, they're both skilled drivers. It'll be clean. Riley just be biding his time at the moment, just doing everything he can. May even say to himself that if he can't get an opportunity, may just take the second place. Just keep banking the points at the moment. Obviously, still plenty to run in this championship, and you know, in the early ons in the championship, you probably don't think about it as much. You just try and go for all the results you could possibly get. But now you're sort of getting to the business end. You start to think about the championship picture. You know, points are going to be very vital, especially towards the end. So maybe thinking a little bit long term. I could probably get the move done there, but you know what? Maybe I'll save it and probably pick a track where I'm maybe a bit quicker to make better use of or score more points and make better use of my pace, because obviously, yeah, this track being so tight and narrow, to make a pass, you've got to very much commit to it. He may just not have the pace to be able to do it cleanly.
We shall see, though. They're going to come up to half race distance in just a couple of laps' time, and that's when the fatigue will really start to set in for these drivers, with Oulton Park being such an involved circuit. There's barely a point on the track where you're not turning the wheel or making your way over a bump or a divot or something like that. It's almost a miniature Nürburgring in terms of its atmosphere and its driving nature is Oulton Park. Of course, being around since the 1950s certainly gets you that. Here's the battle for fourth. It's a three-way fight. Brady Baldwin holding off the two drop bear cars of Matty Jones and the recovering Daniel Yeaman. And Jones and Baldwin have been together for quite some time. Just a little bit of a look there from Matty Jones, but not able to take advantage. At this point, he's got his faster teammate right on his back bumper. And the question is, does he let Yeaman go just to see if he can get past Baldwin and continue his run up the field?
Yeah, the team games will start to be played, but obviously this battle up front still going. Be interesting to see. The two drop bear cars obviously got a bit of pace at the moment. Daniel will be definitely wanting to get back through the field, especially when he can just sort of see a top four right here. And we've got to think too, just noticed Matty Jones got very, very close there on the braking zone. Done a good job to pull it up. Brady be looking in the mirrors very, very closely there, seeing both those cars in the background. But yeah, Matty very experienced in these things, and Daniel be trying to come back through the field. Not far up the road is Benjamin Falcon, so there's definitely a potential that if he can get clear, still plenty of laps left to run, so maybe those drop bear cars might be able to get a run, but yeah, battle for third spot might be a bit far out of reach at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say so. Benjamin Falcon is all on his lonesome at the moment. You just see him there on the right-hand side as the fourth place battle comes up. And on the left-hand side, Thomas Hinz and Riley Preston still going at it as they have since pretty much the start of the second lap. These two head and shoulders above the rest of the field right now, and yeah, I'm kind of sad that there was that incident between Hinz and Yeaman coming out of turn one, because if that hadn't happened, we might be seeing a three-car battle for first place here, with them really taking it to Riley Preston. As it gradually gets darker, Preston starts moving around in the mirrors of Thomas Hinz, starting to do what Hinz did to his rivals in the previous race. How long can Hinzy hold on is the big question.
Yeah, that's going to be the one we all want answered. You can see there's a swap for position there. Daniel Yeaman's got in front of Matty Jones. So you mentioned the team games, if they were going to swap positions and let Daniel have another go, and it looks like that's what's happened. So we'll keep an eye on that one and see if Daniel Yeaman can take the opportunity and try and keep surging forward. But yeah, this battle at the moment up front, Riley definitely starting to get a bit more aggressive, just sort of get on the rear bumper a little bit more. So trying to see if he can force Thomas Hinz into the mistake. We can see out of one, Thomas Hinz got a very, very sideways there. As we go back in the field, we can see this little battle here. We've got Bradley Wingard, Sebastian Flock, Cameron Dance coming through the field as well. Obviously involved in the lap-what incident as well. Sebastian Flock involved in a little bit of an incident as well. So those three will be battling hard as well. But this battle for the lead, it's just not dying off anytime soon. And oh, he's got that!
There we go. Thomas Hinz spun out there by Riley Preston. It looks like Riley might have been... yeah, he is slowing down to redress the position, which is good to see. These guys have almost a big enough gap over Benjamin Faulkner to get it back going, but Faulkner right on the back of Hinz now. Preston's still going to have to redress this position if he wants to escape a penalty from race control. So now it is a proper three-car battle for the win. Preston just pulling over there, lets Hinzy back by. He manages to keep Faulkner behind as well, so the battle resumes. And oh my goodness, that was a powder keg going off, I think that was, because Hinzy was going straight for the inside of the hairpin to try and go defensive on Riley Preston, but Riley tried to go for the same spot too, just hooked up on him in the middle of the corner. Oh no, and there is a spinner. That is the high-octane car of Brady Baldwin, who we saw fighting for fourth place earlier, and that allows the three-car battle through. Oh my goodness, this has just gone on its head in the last lap or so. Let's see then if our two leaders can continue to try and keep it clean here, as they've already pulled another gap on Faulkner.
Yeah. You can see that when that happened as well, you can see Benjamin Faulkner actually sort of got out of the way as well, didn't want to get involved. Reese Harnell having a bit of spin too. This little battle on track. So, but big props to Riley Preston, just sort of to actually sit there instead of just driving off, just wait until Thomas Hinz got back in front. So doesn't look like that big of a hit, so there definitely shouldn't be any damage or any issues with either driver. So big props to actually readdressing that position. But Bradley Wingard, Sebastian Flock, looks like Bradley's going to actually back out of that one. Cameron Dance is going to be the next one in the line as well, trying to go around the outside. Bradley on the inside. We can see the battle for the lead.
Oh.
Looks like Riley might actually get it done this time. That's it.
No!
Oh, very wide.
Oh. How did he hold on to that? My goodness. Riley Preston, you are just built different. That is... oh, I can't believe that. Hinzy's really pushing him still, trying to get this lead back. I mean, Riley just...
Going wide again.
Oh,
Looks like he's going to be back at the inside. Hins back through. Benjamin Faulkner saying, nope, I'm actually going to have a go this time. He's going to go straight into second place. They're going to go side by side out of the final corner. Benjamin Faulkner up into P2. Riley Preston has gone from the lead back to third in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and Faulkner going defensive on him into turn one. Preston's going to be frustrated at this. This is allowing Thomas Hins to get away. He'll be ruining that mistake coming into Druids. Absolutely. This has just given a free kick to Thomas Hins in the lead battle. Benjamin Faulkner, of course, not running at quite the same pace as these two. The only reason he's involved in this battle in the first place is because of that contact earlier. Still, to take nothing away from Benjamin, he's put in a pretty good drive so far this race. And keeping Riley Preston behind for the time being. He goes defensive once again. Preston will have to go for the late apex, try and get some sort of a run coming into the Britain's chicane, but dipping a wheel off into the grass certainly isn't going to help matters.
Oh, a little bit of a lock break there from Riley, but he's going to be trying to line up, try and pull the same move he did on Thomas Hins into the next quarter, but he hasn't quite got the run off the quarter. Benjamin's going to have a little bit of the gap, so it looks like they will stay single file as they head into Britain's, but absolutely. We thought Riley Preston had done the biggest save of the race by being able to hold on to that position, but then a few corners later, just the tiniest little mistake, just ran it wide, and that was enough for both Thomas and Benjamin to sort of get the run past. But now we're seeing, a bit wide of the apex there for Benjamin Faulkner. He's going to be right on the rear bumper now. We can see Cam Dance off the track as well. So goes from bad to worse for Cam Dance, but up the inside, Riley Preston will get the job done. Now, head down, he's got to try and catch up. Thomas Hins once again.
With 8 laps to go, the gap between our leaders sits at 1.6 seconds. How much of that ground can Riley Preston make up in 1 lap is the question I want to ask, considering his pace that he's shown all night. But this is certainly going to have some championship implications. Here's what happened to Cam Dance. It looks like he just caught the tyre barrier on the inside of Hislop and around he went. Not too sure if that's resulted in some damage for him. It looks like he is still proceeding at racing speed though, so looks like it was just a little bit of a hit to the side there for Cam Dance. Not quite as spectacular as other tyre barrier incidents we've seen.
Definitely not. I'm just going to go duck off to the team server. I'm going to rename Cam to Cam Tyre Barrier Dance because he's had a few goes at him tonight. But yeah, I've definitely got away with that one a bit better. But yeah, this battle as well. P3, we kind of wrote the battle off a P3, thinking the gap was just way too big. But the other thing that sort of happened because of that little battle between the contact between Hins and Preston is Daniel Yeaman now definitely has a shot at a podium here as well. So this is going to be obviously involved in that little bit of contact at the start with Hins, but road to recovery. This is going to be a fantastic drive if he can get himself back onto the podium.
It looks like Reese Harnell has elected to retire from this one. Just too many issues for him. Let's see then if Daniel Yeaman can get one up here on Benjamin Faulkner, get back onto the podium to try and back up his podium in race 1 and his win in race 2 at Donington Park last round. This has been quite the eventful night in the flat sixes. How many more events are to come? Well, one event that's not happening is Riley Preston reeling in Thomas Hins massively. He's only managed to make up 4/10 on the last lap, and considering that Thomas Hins is
big lock up by Benjamin Faulkner. He's done a good job to not go off the track there. He'll hold on to the position, but that's going to heat that front tyre, so it's not going to be too happy. We can see it again straight away. He's locked the front. That's it. Daniel Yeaman will get onto the podium, but 2 mistakes right there and then for Benjamin Faulkner. That's disappointing. He's been doing a fantastic job to date, and yeah, a little bit disappointing there for him.
He's still +2 positions from where he started, so still a bit of a profitable race too there for Benjamin Faulkner. The gap is starting to be reeled in here by Preston. He's under 7/10 of a second now to Thomas Hins. He's absolutely pulled it out of the bag in this fight for his second win of the night. Will he end up getting it is the big question with 6 laps to go now as they cross the line here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, 6 to go at the line. I think this is definitely going to be another battle. This is second lap. Just noticed the second lap in a row. Riley Preston has put in the fastest lap of the race. He went a 10th faster again, 2/10 faster. Actually, no, sorry, half a second faster than Thomas Hinz that last time round. So Riley Preston not done at all. You can see this battle here for 8th, 9th. Brady Baldwin and Bradley Wingard. So another drop bear car making its way through the field. It looks like I thought it was going to be a big move for the inside into turn 2, but not so much. We'll sit back behind. Now we've got Sebastian Flock. It looks like Aaron Gilbert as well. Yep, Aaron Gilbert on screen at the moment. So another person I think would be a bit disappointed with his drive. Had a fantastic start early on, but here we are, the battle for the lead. It's back on again. Riley Preston's done a fantastic job to close this gap in. When they get to the line, they'll have 5 to go, but this is going to be a challenge for Hinz now. He's definitely not got the pace. Riley's definitely got it at the moment, but how long can Hinz hold out? Can he get all the way to the end and keep Riley Preston behind?
Question on everyone's minds at the moment. The Evolution Racing Team driver has shown himself to be one of the class drivers of the field in terms of pace, as Flock continues to fight here with Aaron Gilbert. And in terms of lap time between these guys, they're pretty well matched. Flock was only a 10th and a half faster than Gilbert on the last lap. And we're hearing from our director he'll be a lot faster this lap. Let's see the time as they cross the line. Gilbert 39.3, Flock a 36.4. So Aaron Gilbert obviously making a mistake somewhere along the way.
Yeah, anyway, that lap time difference could be is definitely a mistake on that last lap. Virtual Racing School replay up on screen at the moment, looking at Bradley Wingard. And, big sideways. He's going to hold on to it. No, he won't. It's going to go right around. He's just, look at this. I thought he was going to do the IndyCar spin where you just drop the clutch and keep the cars rotating. But nope. And, another car's, that was Cam Dance.
Oh, my goodness. Cameron Dance. He's almost spent more time off the track than on it tonight. What is going on there for the New Zealander?
Be bitterly there, but
looks like the move for the lead has been made while we were looking at that. Riley Preston has gotten by Thomas Hinz here on the replay. Held the outside into the chicane, and oh dear, bit of contact again, side by side between the two of them. So I still don't think Hinzy's going to be too happy with how that's played out.
No, definitely a bit of side-by-side contact. Not quite sure. Did Riley wash out a little bit? Just going to go back and have a real quick look. Doesn't
going to go back, Julie.
Go back, Julie? Yeah, I can speak English well. Yes. Go back and have a quick look. Can't see too much at the moment. It looks like it was fairly fair there. There was just an unfortunate little bit of side-by-side contact, but yeah, I still think Thomas would be a little bit upset about that one. Would have preferred there not to be contact, but yeah. Fantastic job by Riley to get it done and back into the lead at the moment. But we'll have a look at this little battle. Aaron Gilbert, Sebastian Flock, definitely the faster out of the two at the moment. But have to wait and see if he can get the job done. That damage to the front of the car will definitely not be helping. It may not be overall affecting how the car handles, but it would definitely be having a little bit of an aerodynamic effect. And especially around a track this small, aero is probably going to be, just that little bit, that extra aero, just sort of in the draft as well. You're going to need every little bit of advantage you can get.
Yeah, too right. And it looks like Flock has had a couple of issues on these last few laps, not quite harassing Aaron Gilbert like he did. And Thomas Hinz now starting to drop off the back of Riley Preston, who, once again, once he's in the lead of a race, Preston just gets on with it, head down and streaks away. 1.5 seconds between them now for the lead of the race. Daniel Yeaman is the one we're going to have to be watching out for here, because Hinsey with 35.6 on this particular time. Yeaman sets a 35.3. So I don't know if he'll be able to make up that gap in these last few laps of the race, but still Daniel Yeaman on an absolute charge, and it makes you wonder what might have been.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic driver, Daniel Yeaman. You just sort of, obviously, first debut round managed to get a win, and obviously turned up tonight, definitely had the pace, definitely had the ability to challenge for the top 3 spots. So yeah, just it's going to be walking away from race 2. I think you'll still be happy with the podium result, but definitely going to be walking away with a bit of a, what could have been in that one. You can see Matty Jones on screen at the moment. He's going to be trying to chase down Benjamin Faulkner, which the last couple of laps, he wasn't quicker that last time by. And you've also got Aaron Gilbert in the background too, sort of going with them as well. So interesting to see if he can get there. There'll only be a few more laps left to run, so the gap's a little bit big at the moment. So yeah, not sure if Matty will be able to have a chance to try and go for 4th place.
Well, if anything happens to Benjamin, then Matty Jones is going to be right there. Sebastian Flock, meanwhile, is caught back up to the back of Aaron Gilbert. The 03 making his way down towards Druids, and Flock very aggressive on the turn, and he runs a bit wide through the mid-phase of the corner, which compromises his exit just a little bit. Flock, of course, is dealing with damage, so he's not quite sure what his car's going to do corner to corner. Cameron Dance, meanwhile, is trying his best here to get a bit further into the top 10, but seems to not be going his way at all. He's just spun again as we go to the replay, and that left-hand wing mirror hanging off. He goes for a trip over the grass. Yeah, this has been a pretty poor lap here for Cameron Dance, and he's in the wall now. We'll stay on the replay for this one, I think, because going for another spin at the Hislop chicane. Manages to get it back going with that old IndyCar flick spin you were talking about earlier, Simon. But once he gets up the hill, this is where it really all goes wrong for him. He just tries to tip it in, and the rear end breaks free as the car gets loaded up. And with that wing mirror hanging off the side, and oh goodness me, it almost looked like he had that as well. So well and truly into the wall, and looks like just going straight into the Marshall runoff area and pulling off back into the pits.
Yeah, and that'll be a day done. Be bitterly disappointed for Cam, considering he had such a strong run in that first race in P2, so be a bit disappointed about that one. But coming up to the line, Riley Preston will be greeted by the white flag. He's done a fantastic job in this race. Obviously started down the back, I think started P9 from memory, and done a fantastic job to come through all the way to the lead. He's got out front, has not been troubled since. I think he'll just cruise this one home, but the battle down the back, still having a little bit of a look at Sebastian Flock and Aaron Gilbert. That battle is still going on at the moment. Starting to see actually Daniel Yeaman and Benjamin Faulkner starting to close up as well, but don't think there's enough time for that battle to go. So will Gilbert be able to get over and get... will Flock be able to get past Gilbert? Wait and see, but there's not much time left to do that.
Yeah, well, he has one heck of a look there coming into the fast right-hander. Maybe Gilbert getting sent into a bit of a tizzy coming into the braking zone. No, not for now. They still manage to make their way through cleanly. Bumper to bumper on the way into Britain's, vaulting over the curb. Flock has done a very good job to bring this car home after the damage he suffered earlier. Will he be able to bring it back into 6th place and salvage a few more points from tonight? One driver who's not going to have to salvage anything is Riley Preston up the front. Just coming up on the lap car is Shane Best, but it looks like Best is going to keep going there as Riley Preston comes across the line to take his second win of the night in slightly more controversial fashion this time around, but still, a win is a win. Thomas Hinz comes home in second place with Daniel Yeaman in third. So pretty much the same podium getters from race 1 as we've seen in race 2, but in very different circumstances.
Yeah, drivers start to make their way across the line. Very different, but yeah, again, fantastic drive by all involved in that one. I said those two top 3 managing to get through the field and put a fantastic drive in as well. Definitely had its moments this race, but as always, I think one thing we've definitely learnt tonight is that Oulton Park always turns it on no matter what you bring here.
For sure. And Preston is going to taste those victory celebrations, and they will surely be sweet. Let's run through the race results before we go to driver interviews at the end of the night. Riley Preston from 10th place, finishing in first, of course. Thomas Hinz 4.4 seconds behind in second place, with Daniel Yeaman coming home in third. Meanwhile, Benjamin Faulkner in fourth, and Matty Jones rounding out the top 5. It's Aaron Gilbert and Sebastian Flock. Gilbert ultimately winning that battle out with the damaged Flock. Brady Baldwin coming home in 8th place. Good to see a finish on the board after the spectacular way in which he exited race 1. Brad Wingard and Adam Moore round out the top 10.
P11 will be Sam Stride up 6 spots. Max Lubston will come home in 12th. Shane Best come home in 13th, and then we start to see the DNFs of Cameron Dance, Reese Harnell, Isaac Edwards, Anthony Green, and Luke Swan rounding out 18th place.
Big shame for those guys. They had really big opportunities to get some points here, but now we can watch as Riley Preston comes back into the pits and will properly begin his victory celebration. So looks to me like it looks to me like 63-point lead. Is that for Thomas Hinz after this one, or is that for Riley Preston? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, just having a quick look. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 63-point lead for Thomas Hinz at the moment. So it's coming down slowly. Obviously, still plenty to play for, but yeah, obviously good to see that Hinz, as he's shown in this one, could definitely put up a fight and definitely going to make Riley Preston work for it.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of this championship plays out, because, my goodness, it's shaping up to be quite the titanic title battle between Riley Preston and this guy we're going to talk to now, Thomas Hinz. Welcome to the commentary box, Hinzy. Double podium for you tonight. You're still in the lead of the championship, but my goodness, Oulton Park is a difficult circuit to race on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so hard to pass, man. Yeah, no, as you saw, tried to get the move done in race 1 on Daniel and just couldn't tee it up. Just no matter what I tried, I just could not get it done. And it's interesting info for SCOPS, which I'll probably split two for as well, because I'm so slow in Supercar these days. But yeah, it'll be interesting for that, because obviously more aeros, so it's probably going to be even harder to pass, but we'll deal with that problem in the future. But yeah, no, it was really good fun. Obviously, first race was great battling with me and Daniel, and then second one, everything kind of exploded at the start, but managed to be ahead of Riley. And obviously we came together there, which could have Riley for the redress. Cheers on that. And yeah, then tried to hold him, but yeah, Riley's just too fast. So I kind of got to hope for him to make some errors, because I have to have a look. I haven't actually really looked at how the points are in terms of what for each race, what you get. So I might look at that and try and figure out, because if he can get it by just winning every race, then he probably will. To be honest, I get the feeling, because he's just too fast. So I just don't have the pace on him. So but we'll see. Long way to go yet. Obviously, we've still got about half the championship to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
We shall indeed, and looks to me like Henry King was doing the calculations behind the scenes. You still lead the championship by 63 points over Riley, so obviously we can work that out before the next round see exactly what you or Riley would need to do to keep the title. But what was your position on that secondary contact between yourself and Riley down at the chicane? Running side by side through there can be pretty difficult at the best of times.
Yeah. It was. I mean, we had it with with me and Daniel in the first lap too, where he sort of came across there, and then the whole iRacing physics thing kind of happened. He just got bolted up in the air, and then he went off. So just similar to that, really. We just sort of came together, and then obviously there was, I guess, one of those kind of slight latency things you get with iRacing, where it's not so much net code, but it's definitely not how it should be, and the car just overreacts big time. Obviously, we see it in SCOPS and other series all the time, where cars just overreact to contacts way too much. So yeah, no, it was all totally fair racing. You know, Riley gave the room and just the slightest nudge, which should have just been a little barely feel anything, just ended up shooting the car up. And yeah, I mean, I look back and he's probably going to get the run on the outside anyway. I was going to probably delay it like 2 corners if he didn't get it done there in that moment. But yeah, look like just iRacing physics and stuff to me, which is always good fun.
Yes, indeed. Well, either way, as we said, you're still in the lead of the championship, so I guess that provides some good motivation for future rounds.
Yeah. Try and keep either beat Riley when he on the rare times he does stuff up, which just getting rarer as it goes, and or just be second as much as I can. Really, is about all I can hope for. So yeah, as I said, I just you said the maths there, just quickly in my head, it's definitely going to be real tight. Even if I finish second every race, it's going to be real tight at the end. So we'll see. But as we said, long way to go. As you see in these reverse grid races, it can all kick off pretty big time. So there's every chance, something happens. He has a bad one, and then I have a bad one. I haven't had a bad one yet, so I'm due it and I'm waiting for it. But yeah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Just keep trying the best I can, give it everything as I always do, and yeah, we'll see where we are at the end.
All right. Well, Hinsey, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just the usual Henry James Racing crew for the awesome support, and Sim Racing Channel as well, to Gibbo and everyone there. Awesome support from them too. Obviously, Jinx Shifters, Fifth Gear Motoring, Ratu, all the sponsors on the car. Ventral, is it? I think the new one. That's really bad. I should really know that new sponsor now. But yeah, all the sponsors on the car. Big thanks to them for supporting us, of course. Big thanks to the admins for the series and OSR, and thanks to you guys for awesome broadcasts as always.
Thomas Hins there, finishing second place there in race 2. We got, for our final driver interview of the night, Daniel Yeaman. Well, Daniel, after that brilliant debut win at Donington Park, hopes were certainly high running into Oulton, but you had a very tough time of it, particularly in race 2.
Yeah, it's probably a good way to put it, Reese. I have to say, I think reflecting on Donington, got very lucky to survive the end of the race chaos. Did get a bit of a punt into turn it from Preston back then, but that's bygones, bygones. I made a hash of that interview, but so it was, yeah, fortunate to get P2 to start off tonight behind Riley and just hold on to beat Hinsey earlier. But yeah, then make a complete mess at the start of tonight's race, drive into the side of Hinsey. Thankfully, good to see he wasn't too affected by that, and it was self-penalizing, I suppose. And then, yeah, just, I guess, fortunate to be able to drive back through and make the moves necessary to get back to P3. So, at the end of the day, fairly happy with how things turned out.
As you should be, and definitely talked about this to Thomas Hins a little earlier. It's very difficult to go side by side around Oulton Park. If you want to make a move and make it stick, you really got to plan it out.
Absolutely, yeah. There was a couple of times there in that second race where I'm thinking about, do I make the dive coming through these guys? I know I'm quicker, but just did my best to try and make common sense. Having said that, did run a bit deep through the kink and nearly sent Brady Baldwin into the fence. So said sorry to him via PM. Say sorry to him now. Again, that was sloppy of me, but hope he respects the fact that both cars were still on the track after things, and hopefully it didn't hurt his car too much. But yeah, so it was just all about having to be careful, be smart. Got lucky that had a couple of guys racing here. Well, Brad Wingard and Matty Jones, teammates, were willing to play ball once I got to them, and they weren't able to make their way through on guys ahead. And so a couple of gifted places, but hopefully, for the most part, there at the end, made some good moves to pick up the pieces at the end of that one.
Well, if nothing else, you've certainly shown that you still have the pace to compete up here at the top in this series.
I hope so. Clearly, Riley at the moment seems to be in a bit of a league of his own. So congrats to him on another double race win tonight to continue to establish a solid lead up front. But it does feel good to be able to race with guys like Hinsey and match his pace for the most part, and at least not sort of give up the positions easy if I happen to be able to get track position on him. So yeah, looking forward to the remainder of the season. Hopefully keep eking out a little bit more in qualifying like we did tonight, and just work on that racecraft a little bit more, it seems.
Well, still, double podium for you tonight, and who do you have to thank for it?
Big thanks to all the team partners at Drop Bear Motorsport, Encosi Engineering Solutions, Sam Blacklock Media, Hybrid Racing Simulations, and our latest partner, Revolution Race Gear. Big thanks to all of them for supporting the team. And yeah, to Brad Wingard, Matty Jones, who are racing with me in Team Colours tonight. Big thanks for them for doing a good job themselves where they ended up, all things considered, and repping the team well. And yeah, to the rest of the boys watching on, big thanks to all of them and for their support.
Daniel Yeaman, double podium once again here at Oulton Park. And that brings to an end proceedings for tonight, Simon. Really looking forward to the next round of V8SCOPS supports. Cannot wait for it, but we've got the main game on Sunday. We're going to go to Belle Isle for the next round of V8SCOPS supports, but we're going to be still here at Oulton on Sunday, where the best drivers in Aussie sim racing duke it out.
Absolutely. Actually looking forward to this one. It's about time we get the SCOPS to get to Oulton Park. It looks like it's going to be a very, very close field. Slightly reduced size fields, only 35 I believe this time for split 1 and 2. But yeah, definitely excited for it. I think it's going to be fantastic racing. And yeah, everyone should definitely tune in Sunday and have a good watch.
Indeed, they should. I'll be on the call with Cameron Dance for that one Sunday afternoon here on SimSpeed TV. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody, all around the world on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. We hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. We certainly did up here in the commentary box. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Simon Mazzomo alongside me and Jay Kennedy handling production and cameras and everything behind the scenes. Big thanks once again to racingsims.co.nz for your support of the V8SCOPS support series. We'll see you next time. In this case, it's going to be Sunday at Oulton Park.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh,
he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
No.